And I'll say the clauses, and then you guys just repeat after me. Please raise your right hand. All right. I and say your name. Swear that I will faithfully and to the best of my abilities fulfill the duties and responsibilities of the office of, and say your position. In accordance with the Constitution and statutes of the student government of the University of Central Florida and the Constitution and the laws of the state of Florida and the United States of America. Congratulations, you are all now confirmed.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Ellie Martinez, and I currently serve as the Student Body Vice President, but the speaker for the next, we'll see. So I hereby call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The national anthem is not available tonight. Roll call and verification of quorum. Aloe.
Hi, please correct me if I say your name wrong. Gabriela Gomes. Thank you. Mateo Herrera.
Present.
Aiden Trainer.
Present.
Grant Donovan. Obianuju Ibe. Here. Reese Kenna. Here. Danishka Morissette.
Present.
Ethan Temple.
Present.
Stephanie Bishop.
Present.
Evan Caldwell. Adam Caringal.
Present.
Ariel Dadalis.
Present.
Aiden Dicarial.
DeCara. Present.
Carol, thank you. Elise Butler. Present. Al Campbell.
Present.
Connor Cantrell.
Present.
Eric Castillo.
Present.
Paige Fintel.
Present.
Jason Hamid.
Present.
Julian Larson. Damian Moore.
Here.
Samuel Rose.
Here.
One sec, let me scroll. Emelina Brown.
Here.
Kylie Samillo.
Here.
Veniza Humayan.
Here.
Pranav Nadella. Ishan Patel.
Here.
Vihan Yalamangchili.
Present.
Vijay Luthra.
Here.
Charlize Yusufari.
Here.
Carlos Acosta.
Present.
Tyler Borges.
Here.
Ariana Carter.
Here.
Rihanna Duke.
Present.
Matthew Hochfelder.
Here.
Sierra Holmes.
Present.
Amanda Hurst.
Present.
Artine Kaze.
Present.
Taylor Cotman. Preston Lacasse.
Lacasse. Present.
Lacasse, thank you. Oriana Montaigne. AJ Patel.
Here.
Allison Pullman.
Here.
Laurel Richmond.
Present.
Benjamin Sandlin.
Here.
Jason Tache. Felipe Kairos Rivera. Felipe, thank you. Akila Demarla.
Here.
Agostia Natal.
Here.
All right, 63 out of 69. Quorum is verified.
Is there a motion to open nominations for Senate President?
So moved.
It's fine. Are there any objections? Seeing none, it is approved. Is there a motion to, are there any nominations for Senate President? Temple.
I move to nominate Senator Holmes.
Senator Holmes, do you accept? Yes, I accept. You.
I move to nominate Senator Campbell.
Senator Campbell, do you accept?
I accept.
I move to nominate Senator Kennel.
Senator Kennel? Kenna, do you accept?
I decline.
Senator Yalman Chili?
I move to nominate Senator Temple.
Temple, do you accept?
I respectfully decline.
Is there a motion to close nominations? Is there a motion for 7-minute speeches, unlimited question, and unlimited debate? All right, so just for it to be a little bit easier, Sierra and Senator Campbell, if you want to just sit here. If you have any presentations, just please speak with Brody, and then when it's your time to speak, you'll go to the podium.
Question for the chair. Did we move to approve tonight's agenda? Or did we have to do that?
There's no agenda to approve, so I'm going to go with no.
We do have an agenda to approve. We just don't have last week's minutes.
Well, let's go back to that. Is there a motion to approve today's agenda? What do you do now? Right. No last week's minutes? Cool.
Yeah, sorry, we're solving a Teams issue really quick, so just hang on.
So we will start with Senator Holmes in order as she was nominated. So Sierra, whenever you're ready. You can go on the podium.
All right, thank you so much for your patience. I was having some technical difficulties with Teams. Alrighty. All right, so thank you so much for your time. My name is Sierra Holmes, and I'll be running to be your Senate President for the 55th session. You can go to the next slide. Who am I? Well, I am a rising senior projected to graduate in spring of 2024. I'm pursuing a bachelor's degree in political science and a certificate in litigation and advocacy. For the past 2 sessions, I have served as Black Caucus Chair. Outside of student government, I'm a lead scholar and now serve on the President's Leadership Council. You can go to the next slide. Student government became my first home at UCF. When I first started, I was intimidated by the position. I was 18 and the youngest in the room. People older than me were in fancy suits and saying sophisticated things that I grew to later know were motions. I was in a huge room in a chair I could barely fit with a large speaker used to project our voices. And in fact, I was intimidated. But 3 months in, unexpectedly, the position of Black Caucus Chair opened up. With the encouragement of my parents and peers, I decided to run. And to my surprise, the members of the caucus unanimously and confidently voted me in that day. Fast forward 2 sessions later, I'd grown to be more comfortable and confident in my position as former chair and as a senator. If you told me that with the help of my fellow senators, that we led a caucus to hold 2 Black Business Month showcases, bring natural hair products on campus, and wrote and supported legislation, I would be amazed and in borderline disbelief. Being a part of the Student Body Senate was, in fact, intimidating at first. But with the unconditional support of my fellow senators, creating lifelong friendships, and through witnessing my own personal and professional growth, I've learned to love it and make the experience my own. That's why I'm running, because as someone with this unique story and being under the leadership of the past 4 speakers, I can proudly say I want to leave Senate better than it was before and be that peer that supports you through this spectacular journey as a senator. Next slide, please. For the Senate body, during Senate orientation, you all spoke and I listened. The very first thing I'll accomplish is making Senate meetings hybrid this summer. As students, summer is the opportunity to not only travel, but to explore internships and reunite with our families. Therefore, hybrid Senate meetings will allow for increased flexibility and accessibility for the session. A friendly and positive work environment is vital to personal and professional growth. With that in mind, in conjunction with the Pro Temp's office, I hope to establish a Senator of the Month, which celebrates senators' unprecedented work throughout the session. Open door policy. The leadership from last session had this policy. I was able to talk to leadership whenever I was on campus, and this gave me a strong sense of comfort and trust in them. Carrying this into the next session will continue effective communication with myself and fellow senators, as well as create a great relationship built on trust and collaboration. Slide 2. Filling vacant seats. I want you to look around. Do you see any empty seats beside you or in your row? Filling vacant seats is one of my goals this session. Utilizing tabling, events, and social media will allow students the opportunity to learn how to grow their leadership skills through student government. However, I believe outreach is not complete without advocacy. That's why we're here, right? Therefore, I believe it is imperative that we keep consistent and transparent communication with administration. Although statutorily I cannot write, debate, or vote on legislation, I can make sure Senate's message is clearly and respectfully communicated to administration. Events like Coffee with the Caucuses, Collaborate with Committees, and Senate meet and greets are fun and relaxed opportunities for students to firsthand learn how student government can advocate for them and how, in a way that we can directly speak with our constituents. Next slide. Interbranch communications. It's what keeps student government strong. Student government wouldn't exist without our 3 branches. And cohesiveness keeps our productivity and overall attractiveness of our entity. This session, I want the body to hold ex officio seats on the faculty senate committees. This would allow the student body senate to expand their impact and understanding of other impactful entities through collaboration. And lastly, utilizing teams by creating a channel for student government leadership is a great mode of communication, in my opinion. This would create a space for us to be aware of what is going on with other branches in regards to collaboration on events, sponsorship on legislation, and to brainstorm further ideas to further outreach and build a secure interbranch bond. You can go to the next slide. As your next hopeful Senate president, I not only look forward to delivering on these initiatives, but personally getting to know each and every one of you
You have 1 minute remaining.
and guiding you into a successful session. Thank you for your time, and I yield mine.
Up next, we'll have Senator Campbell.
Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, sorry about that. So my name is Evan Campbell, L. Campbell. I am the College of Engineering and Computer Sciences seat number 2, and I'm running for Speaker for Senate. As you can tell by the fact that I have nothing brought up with me, I specifically didn't plan a speech or presentation because no amount of prep time that I could have had really would have prepared me to say what I want to say. It's easier to speak from the heart than it is to speak from something I'd already written. As for who I am, well, yes, I sit as part of engineering and computer science. I'm a double major here on campus. I'm a mechanical engineering and a history major here. Technically, I'm of junior standing, but credit-wise, I'm a little bit over the place. What I do on campus, I was a late arrival to Senate last year. I was appointed to CECS seat 11, and from there, I was at the recommendation of Senator Tache, who unfortunately could not be here today because he's continuing to work at the protest civil at Memory Mall, if any of you did visit. After given his recommendation to apply to be appointed for Senate and then apply to run for Disability Caucus chair, I became the chair of Disability Caucus. And there, with the Disability Caucus and a lot of the caucuses, the only members that are really part of it are people who identify as part of that community. And that's a big shame. Caucuses should be a much bigger, important part of UCF here, and they should be talked about more. During the original Senate talking before elections, I knew multiple senators didn't even know the concept of caucuses, much less what caucuses were there. And for a non-significant portion of this semester, we had no LGBTQ caucus because no one ran for chair. And for Disability Caucus, myself and Senator Duke are the only 2 members that remained from the end of last session that have turned over to this year. As for what I do outside of UCF, I have ties with a disability and special education law firm, and a speech pathology business back in my hometown. I do work with disabled kids. I tutor them when they need more intensive treatment that a therapist can't necessarily do because insurance restricts their hours, or it's just something repetitive that isn't necessarily within their field of their degree. I decided to run for speaker, not because this is something that I could use to benefit me later on in my career. Neither of my degrees really involve politics in this manner. I chose to run because I want to keep doing what I believe is the right thing. And unfortunately, for some of the things that I've been actively trying to work on, the voice that I have, even as caucus chair, isn't enough. And I believe I speak for multiple people here that Senate does not have nearly as much power as we would like to. We don't have the voice that can reach all of the students, because whether it be communication from administration, whether it be just lack of communication between the branches, we don't have the outreach that we need to. One of the things that I would love to do is increase communication between different branches, having a dedicated team stat similar to what Senator Holmes said, and also create events where senators can talk one-on-one with individual students to have their voices concerned and possibly have recordings of it. And for Senate, I would love to have hybrid meetings for the summer, and then partial hybrid meetings in the fall for those of us who can't make it, whether it be for a job, they have a class, they have a test, things like that, where they still want to be able to be part of these meetings, but due to some scheduling conflict or a disability, they can't make it. I know of people as part of the Disability Coalition who is one of the ex officio seats on Disability Caucus that would love to join, that would love to sit in and be the representative, but can't due to their disabilities, and it's very disheartening. I would also love to have an ASL interpreter be here going forward on Senate meetings. I've had multiple students voice concerns to me about that because they genuinely cannot understand what is being said, even with the closed captioning that is currently available through YouTube. It's just not good enough. What I would love to see for Senate is letting students know with a clear perspective of what we actually have power over. As some of you may know, there was a bit of debacle regarding the financial bill from last semester, and just a lot of miscommunication between students that are here as part of UCF and senators, and what we actually had power over, what we didn't, what we had in our scope, and what we didn't. There was a great deal of miscommunication, and a lot of our issues could be solved by just talking. Communication is the biggest key to making things better. And not just communication isn't like making a social media post, having those heart-to-heart communications to make people actually understand what we are saying. That's the biggest issue that we have now. In terms for what I would love to see student government as a whole do going forward, I would love to see greater intersectionality between different marginalized communities. Like I believe we had a Black Business Day, correct, Senator Holmes, last semester? Was that a Women's Business Day? I would love to see greater intersectionality and have identities as part of other caucuses have intersectionality within.
You have 1 minute remaining.
As if elected as speaker, I would just increase communication and make it easier for us, because we're already here maybe 5 hours a day, or not 5 hours a day, my apologies. We're here 5 hours a week on top of us being students, us having jobs, us having lives. And it already takes a toll on us, and I know some people who have left because of that. And it shouldn't be as hard to be a voice. It needs to be easier. And I yield the rest of my time.
We will now go into questioning. All questions must be for both candidates. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Temple?
2 questions, if I may, Madam Speaker.
You may.
All right. My first question for the candidates will be quite simple. Let's see here. Yeah. What lessons have you both learned, seeing as you are returning senators from the 54th session, and Senator Holmes in particular from the 53rd session, What experiences have you gained as sitting senators of this body, and what do you intend to do to shape them moving forward should you become speakers?
So, just to repeat your question back to you, what did I learn from this past session, and how do I intend to move forward with what I've learned?
That is correct.
This past session, I've gotten very close to other senators, closer than I have been in the 53rd. And what I learned through that is that relationships with those that you work with take you far. They open doors, they create lifelong partnerships. And honestly, in my opinion, for me, it increased my productivity. It made me want to come into the office. It made me excited and looking forward to being here every Thursday night. And that's why I'm running for speaker now, because I'm excited to build new relationships with every person in this room. And I want you all to have the same experience that I had, creating new relationships and learning how to grow in these positions and reaching beyond what you could have imagined.
Just to repeat, just to make sure I understand your question. Your question was, what were my experiences and lessons that I've learned this past session, and how will I apply them moving forward?
Yes.
All right, thank you. What I learned this past session was, first off, I learned a lot about how Senate operates. I came in as someone who knew very little about Senate. For those returning senators who were here for my appointment, you know that I came in with really only one goal, which was a disability commons. And after stepping in, trying and getting my feet running there, I learned a lot about how Senate works. And I also learned that Senate is a place that I can very much be a more comfortable version of myself that I can in most other spaces. It was extremely welcoming, even with it being intimidating. And for those of you out there who are feeling this just intimidation and fear and anxiety about being here, don't. These people are your peers. They're not people to be scared of. They're people to go hang out with once Senate is over. These are people to talk with, have fun with, go to local places, go actually enjoy people outside of the time we spend here. This isn't, yeah, it's business while we're here, but these people have genuine lives. They're fully fleshed out people. They're not just faces, and don't treat them as such. When there were senators from last session, probably senators from this session, that I will have disagreeing opinions with, but are still extremely kind and welcoming people, and they never alienated me or made me feel an outcast like I felt historically in other spaces. And I want to keep that moving forward by ensuring that this is a space that is welcome for everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. And I want to apply the lessons that I learned going forward, where a single goal can keep you moving, but it doesn't keep you focused enough to be able to help other people as much as you would like.
Your next question.
Yes, and this touches upon Senator Campbell's point that they made in their speech. So it's no surprise that much of Senate wasn't able to get much done because of inaction on administration's part and with other entities. Why do you think that is the case, from your personal perspectives?
Can you repeat the middle portion, the reasoning why we didn't get much done?
My apologies. So as you both know, there have been a number of factors that have stalwarted many of Senate's initiatives in the 54th session. Why do you think that is the case, and how do you intend to fix that?
I would say a lot of the issues that we faced, a non-insignificant amount of them was people think we have larger reach than we do. Senate is the voice of the students, yes, and we can affect things here on campus, and we can, through different initiatives and bills, send things to governments to voice our opinion and the opinion of the students by proxy. But it doesn't enforce that, and I think that's something that hasn't been made clear historically. In the past, there might have been statements that have made, but they were not made consistently enough that people properly understood. And I think some of the other issues with why Senate had kind of a muted effectiveness was, again, due to miscommunication. I personally have my own experiences. with miscommunication with the communications director and misunderstanding some of her thoughts on how to better communicate with students. And I fully admit that it was a miscommunication on my end. And I know for a fact that it was not just me who was having miscommunications with other parts of student government, whether it be the election commission, judicial, executive, or like communications, or some of our graduate assistants. Miscommunication is the biggest crux that will bring our effectiveness down. And there are many solutions to get around it, but the first is just being open to talk.
Oh, no, it's your turn. Okay. I'd first like to mention if y'all would like anything to pull for questions, there are documents with my resume and my goal sheet in there if you would like to overview that. So I think to answer your question, I think it's lack of connections. I want to use an example. The Juneteenth resolution that Black Caucus passed this past session, I had no idea where to go with that. And that was because I lacked the connections with administration and communication with administration. And that's where my faculty senate ex officio seats idea came from, because they have a calendar committee in which they can revise, they can go to the provost to revise UCF holidays. And so what I've learned from that is having a leadership figure that helps you and guides you to those connections with administration is not necessarily just the sole solution, but I believe it's one solution to making sure that we get more done this next session. It's having administration come to our Senate meetings, going and meeting with administration, making sure that our voices are heard, because we can write legislation all we want. My apologies. We can write legislation all we want, but if we are not speaking to the right people, nothing's going to get done.
Hi. First of all, I just want to say good job to both of you. I think both of your speeches were amazing, especially given how intimidating that podium can be. I just wanted to ask, can you identify what you personally think is like the biggest issue in Senate, and maybe if you have any resolutions as how to fix it or potentially like move towards fixing it? Just elaborate more on that. Thank you.
The biggest issue in Senate. I wouldn't necessarily call it an issue, but I would call it something that we have a foundation on, but can build up on it. And that is interbranch communications. I've seen better interbranch communications this past session, but I definitely think it can get better. I have gotten to know President-elect and President-vice-elect very well, just because they've been in student government previously. But I think, like I said, the theme for all of this is, for me at least, is building relationships. And I think interbranch communications can go far beyond what it has been and could be by not only having that foundation, but building that foundation throughout the months we have here.
I feel like I'm a little bit of a broken record because I've said it a couple times before, but I believe the biggest issue for our Senate is communication and, as Senator Holmes has actually mentioned, connections. While the branches of student government are all part of student government, the connections and communications in between, not much. The first time I ever had a connection or an experience communicating with someone from the judicial departments was when they came into Disability Caucus and brought in an initiative. That was the first time I'd ever had a real interaction, whether it be as part of a caucus meeting or outside of that. And communication will be our downfall. If we cannot convey what we do, if we cannot convey how we help others, if we cannot convey how we make students' lives a little bit easier or have more accessibility and equitable based solutions on this campus, then no one's going to have access to them. Through OSI, I don't know how many of you know this, but through OSI, there is a program where you can actually get assistive language interpreters for RSO meetings and RSO events.
and you will have that interpreter for free. LSI has a specific part of their budget set out for it, and they will also funnel money through other portions into that as well when necessary. I don't know how many of you knew that because they purposely don't talk about it. They don't talk about it because if people knew, it would run out of funding within 2 months. And I don't know about y'all, but that is a massive shame, and that is a massive failure on our part. There shouldn't have to be a forced cessation of communications and connections because because they have to worry about can we give this help to everyone who needs it. Closed communication is not going to help us at all. We have to be open to ourselves, to others. If I become a speaker, I have to be open to everyone who has a question or needs help, and I would be happy to do so. But if we don't have that, then what can we do to help the people here?
Senator Yalamanchili.
So, as a returning senator, my experience at the beginning of the previous session and in the summer of last year was that it was generally a rough start. Many people left because Senate had become an uncomfortable work environment. There were instances of discrimination, ethics issues. And so as Speaker, what will you do to ensure that that does not happen again and that we have smooth sailing ahead? And that we have a Senate that is accountable and, respected by the student body.
So as I mentioned, I was a late arrival, so I did not experience the initial issues with the 54th session. So I cannot directly speak on those incidents, but I do have a general understanding of what happened. In terms of how to solve it going forward, from what I've learned about that incident, it wasn't the biggest issue, but one of the bigger issues was people didn't speak up. For those who are returning senators, if you would like to ask a question and then say whether I'm wrong or that, please feel free to. I'm very much open to criticism. Do not think I am always 100% correct, because I very much am not. When it comes to situations like that, we cannot be afraid to stand up and speak out. And that's something I have personal experience with on both someone who is afraid to speak up and someone who has had to speak up on behalf of others. I don't remember if I mentioned this during my speech, but I do work as a peer advocate for disability-based things, whether it be accommodations, working with professors and students. That is something I do personally just to help others. And I understand that this is an intimidating environment, especially for new senators, but you cannot be afraid to say something. If there is an issue, then it has to be confronted. It can't be left to just sit and fester and get worse and worse. Most of the time, a non-insignificant portion of the time, a problem gets worse than the initial issue when it is let to sit and just stew for a prolonged period of time. And in terms of hard feelings and interpersonal issues, I just want to say I wish you the best of luck, Senator Holmes. And if you win, I think you will be a fantastic speaker. And I do mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Alan. That was very sweet, and same to you. I appreciate that. To your question, I am no stranger to what occurred in the beginning of the session. And through leadership such as Dylan and Nick, their open door policy is seriously what helped a lot of senators not move past that situation. And I believe that carrying that on to the next session is something that's going to not only help facilitate, but foster the relationships that we have here in Senate. Because if we have a strong bond, it's going to be not fairly exactly easy, but it will be less difficult to resolve any conflict that we have in between amongst senators. And I also believe Senate bonding is something that's very important that adds to that. As Speaker, I'd be put together Senate retreats. And I think that one way that we did bonding was playing kickball. And that was so fun. And I want to bring that back again during our Senate retreat. So things like that are ways that we create bonds that are unbreakable with each other. And it's not to say that we're not going to bump heads. We're not going to have situations where we feel uncomfortable. But that is just to say that to create a space where if you do have those problems, you can come to the Speaker's office. The Speaker's office will be able to moderate, facilitate those conversations. I've had opportunities where I had friends come to me about situations and I help facilitate their conversations. So I'm no stranger to that. I even take a civil discourse class right now that talks about facilitating difficult conversations that people see very differently and don't see eye to eye on.
Thank you, Speaker. I have permission to ask 2 questions. First question: What do each of you anticipate being the biggest challenge you will face if elected Speaker?
Getting to know all your names. I've been doing, I think, a pretty good job at it. You know, I see Reese, Danny, Uju over there, Laurel. So, you know, I'm practicing a little. I'm getting a little better. But I think that's one of the challenges. But on a more serious note, I definitely think managing 43 people is going to be a little difficult. But is it impossible? Absolutely not. Thank you for your question.
Right off the bat, I think the biggest issue is just going to be getting used to the procedures of Senate because we have such a high portion of new senators. I want to say new senators to old senators. That's like a 3.5 to 4 to 1 ratio. So getting past that hurdle of just everybody getting comfortable with procedures, understanding how it works, even after the Senate retreat, because Senate retreat was a great way to get everyone introduced to it, but I know that everyone couldn't make it. I think that'll be our biggest initial hurdle. And then I think the biggest challenge past that is going to be being able to keep things open, even when disagreements happen. Whether it be based off of political views, personal issues, relationship problems. There are many reasons why a person in this chamber can find a reason to dislike someone else. There's damn near infinite reasons. So I think the biggest issue is being able to whether it be on behalf doing it for someone else or on your own, being able to kind of separate having those personal issues and then having a professional problem. Because there can be professional problems, and I'm not saying that won't happen. What I am saying is that personal issues, when it comes here to Senate, they have to be put on the side, at least for them.
Thanks to both of you. My second question:
Sorry, you only had like one question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're just, since for the interest of time, we're just going to go ahead and have more senators speak, but I'll get back to you if you have extra time.
All right. Thank you guys for running. So my quick question was, what expectations do you have for the future Senate Leadership Council, and how will you encourage their goals?
Senate Leader Council. So, funnily enough, I was going to be a mentor for SLC, but my mentee never showed up. So I don't have the experience of being a mentee and being able to speak on that. So a little unfortunate there. But from my understanding, the mentor-mentee aspect feels like there's almost a metaphorical age gap there as well. And I think one of the things that has to be changed, I don't know if you would call it culture, but just kind of how it works is, well, yes, there might be an age gap of like 2 years because one of the mentees is like a freshman, and one of the mentors is like a junior or senior or like a grad student. But at the same point, they are your peers. You can't you don't have to speak down to them or treat them as like a pure like mentee. Like if you're working at a job and you have someone who's like 20 years your senior, yeah, that makes sense. But if you're both sophomores and just your mentor got in like a year ahead of you, just treat them like someone you have class with. The best thing that I can say about SLC is be casual about it. Don't make it overly formal or professional, because that's not what it needs to be. And Senate isn't extremely formal or professional either. We got people here in suits, but that's vastly outnumbered. Yeah, I see you, Ethan.
Could you repeat your question?
Yes. So the question was, what expectations do you have for the future Senate Leadership Council, like people who will be sitting in positions, and how will you encourage their goals?
So essentially in the Speaker's office, they appoint the ILA and the ELA, which is the internal legislative assistant and the external legislative assistant. The internal legislative assistant oversees SLC. So essentially, I have heard I have heard from different members of how much they love the program, what they've gained from it, what they want to see, what they'd like to see from it for other individuals. And I think hearing more from our senators who were in SLC is a great way to start. I think creating more cohesiveness with all the branches so that they can get to know other individuals in those branches that want to go into those branches, my apologies. And so that they can create those bonds and then come into Senate if they choose and know what's going on. They're able to know the procedures. They're able to feel comfortable coming in, because I think what makes this chamber less intimidating is familiarity. And I want to create familiarity with whoever, if I become speaker, whoever I choose that becomes the ILA.
My question would be, what do you look for in a pro tempore?
I look for a individual who is effective at communication, who is open-minded, who is dedicated and hardworking. I'm not going to look for something in someone that I don't see in myself. And I'm going to also look for qualities that I don't have myself, because what makes us all unique is the fact that we have differences. And so I'm not going to have and set expectations for this individual, but I am going to make the most of it. And I also trust you all to vote in the person that you see fit. So yeah, that's my answer. Thank you.
In terms of who I would look for in a pro temp, the two most easily definable traits would be personable and knowledgeable. I wouldn't look for someone who is the end all be all and would know everything about Senate. I don't expect anyone to. Even Ethan doesn't know everything about Senate function, and now that is Brody. You do know an absolute lot, though. But someone has to be knowledgeable enough for that position, and they also have to be personable. They have to be someone that you are comfortable talking with, even about hard topics, and they have to be personable enough to be able to reciprocate and be the person that you can talk to. There's no point in having a pro temp that says they're open, but can't be there when you have to have those hard talks. You need someone that can actually be there. And I don't know who's running for pro temp, but whoever they end up being, I do really hope that they fill those qualities.
Is there a motion to move to debate? Now we're in debate. I do ask that we maintain it very respectful, or I will shut it down. Is there any debate? Senator Aquila. I think both the candidates were amazing. I loved your guys' speeches, the answers to the questions, and all of your initiatives. If I had to choose one, I think I'm going to be in favor of Sierra Holmes just because of experience. And I've seen how she's grown throughout the last session. When I came in, I didn't know anyone. And I think the first person that ever talked to me and made me feel welcome, and she was my first senator shout out, was Sierra. She made me feel that I could honestly accomplish anything through Senate and has helped me develop into a leader that I want to be. So I vote in favor for that.
Senator Temple.
So I'm going to agree with Senator Muller in the fact that both candidates are of high quality. I have seen both of them grow in their respective chairmanships. I believe I will be voting for Senator Holmes only because I've seen her grow not just from the 54th session, but also from the 53rd session, her inaugural session. During my time as SJO Seer, the amount of work that she puts into for Black Caucus is astounding. The Black Business Month Market Day, if I'm not mistaken, was her committee's idea, and her execution have made it with aplomb. That is not to discredit Senator Campbell, however. They have gone above and beyond with a really nascent caucus, and have tried their best in organizing such an ambitious project. And I really do hope that no matter who wins, frankly, you will continue your Senate careers with distinguishment and esteem. You both truly deserve this position, but I will give my vote to Senator Holmes.
I'm going to echo what the other two have said already, that you both had wonderful presentations, and I think either of you would be wonderful as our speaker. I think the only thing that might be better than that is if we have both of you up there, one of you as pro tem. So I would throw that out there. I do think openness is the most important quality that we need to foster, and I like that both of you guys mentioned that. And I think Senator Campbell's experience on the Disability Caucus chair would help them be more accessible in terms of president pro tem position. But I also appreciate Senator Holmes, how personable she has been with me in orientation. She was one of the first people that I met there, and she made it a lot smoother. So thank you both for helping out with that.
Is she going to debate? Yeah. Move to vote if there's no other debate. All right. Seeing no further debate, there's been a motion to go into debate or go into voting. Yeah. Cool. A poll will appear shortly. Select your vote on the panel in front of you. If you have any questions, ask Brody. Yeah.
Just to confirm for the rest of the body, number 1 is Senator Holmes, number 2 is Campbell, and number 3 is abstain.
With a vote count of to 30, okay, with a vote count of 30 to 8 to 1, the new Senate president is Speaker Holmes. So congratulations. I hereby yield the chair to the speaker.
Is there a motion for a 5-minute recess?
So moved.
I hereby adjourn this meeting at 5:50. I mean,
Recess,
7.
recess.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Point of order.
Oh, okay. Okay. I motion for a recess at 7:59 p.m. Oh, yeah. I reconvene this meeting at 8:04 p.m. Pro tempore elections. Sorry. Is there a motion to open nominations for Senate President pro tempore? Are there any? Okay, no. Is there a motion to open nominations for Senate? Are there any nominations for Senate President pro tempore? Temple.
I move to nominate Senators DeMarla and Borges.
Senators DeMarla and Borges, do you accept or decline? DeMarla?
I accept.
Borges?
I accept.
I nominate Senator Kennel and Temple.
Senator Kennel and Temple, do you accept or decline? Kennel?
I accept.
Temple?
I respectfully decline.
Duke?
I move to nominate Senator Campbell and Senator Yalmanchili.
Senator Campbell, Senator Yalmanchili, do you accept or decline? Campbell?
I accept.
Yalmanchili?
I respectfully decline.
Are there any other nominations? Temple?
Move to close nominations for Senate President pro tempore.
There has been a motion to close nominations for Senate President pro tempore. Are there any objections? Seeing none, is there a motion? Temple?
Move for 7-minute speeches, unlimited questioning, unlimited debate.
There's been a motion for 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
Okay, 10-minute speeches, unlimited question, unlimited debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none. DeMarla? You can go first. Set the timer. Are you setting the timer? Okay.
Hello?
Okay. You have, oh,
It's on? Yeah. Brody, are you able to pull up the Canva version of it? Like the link I sent in the email?
Give me a sec. Let me see.
all right. 10 minutes when you're ready or whenever Brody pulls it up.
Yeah, sorry. Give me 1 second. I'll have it up.
No problem,
worries.
Brody.
Okay, I'm gonna start if you want to start the timer.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Akila DeMarla. I'm running for the Senate President pro tempore. And through this speech, I want you guys to get to know me, my values, and how I plan to integrate them into the role of pro tempore if I am elected. Next slide. So who I am, there's a lot of pictures up there. Oh, okay, you're good. And I kind of want to explain who I am, not just as a senator, but as an individual. That way you can just see who I like, what my values are. And then if you vibe with them, I guess. But I was born in Michigan and I moved to Texas 7 years ago. So that's not really related to anything. I just think it's a cool connection. I love meeting people from where I am and from different places across the US and the world. I started learning tennis in Michigan and I continued it in Texas, making it integral to who I am as a person. One thing that I learned in tennis is something that is called like giving the benefit of the doubt to your opponent. So trust is something that's always been engraved in me. Even if I don't necessarily think that that person said some or did something that they claim to do, I will always give them the benefit of the doubt because that's just who I am. I think trust is such an important aspect of relationships, and I want it to be a two-way street. I also learned the importance of communication through tennis, especially in playing doubles. I never want to assume someone's thoughts if I want to work alongside with them. So I like to base my perception of someone and prevent preconceived notions, and then just base it on people's words and just not any assumptions I have heard people make of them or I do make of them. So that's a little bit about my tennis. Something else that I'm really passionate about is makeup. So since the age of 12, when my mom gifted me eyeshadows, makeup brushes, makeup was a form of self-expression, like an art. But when I first put makeup on someone else, I kind of realized how gratifying this hobby could be, how I can make someone feel the most confident in who they are just with a brush and just with an applicator. And that's honestly what's made me passionate to become a pre-medical student. What you feel like impacts what you do, how you interact with others and society in general. And by boosting that and raising people's confidences and just promoting their overall well-being, I aim to just help people feel the best they can. So I intend in this position that I can almost be like a effective medium that can bring out the best in each and every single one of you. Another hobby that kind of shows who I am is board games. So I really like board games. Whether the board game is competitive or collaborative, the beauty that I find is that in all of them, there are so many different paths to achieve that goal. Not every single person has a different mindset, but they might have similar goals. And working with each individual person to figure out how they can use their tools and the resources they have and like their access to them to create their own path and forge it to their end goal is something that I think is really cool that you can see through board games, and is something I like to implement through my, if I do get elected as pro tempore. So another thing I do like about board games is that it helps with my critical thinking. I like to consider all the short-term effects, the long-term effects. I also like to think outside the box. If one way to achieve my goal to win a game is blocked, I'll just try and find another. So Brody, you can go to the next slide. I love interacting with people, and I find myself all over campus. I'm always studying at a different building, but these are some of the specific things that I'm involved in. My presentation will go more into detail, so I'm just gonna touch up on them because I'd like you guys to get to know me more through like the questioning process. So I started a organization called the Health Promotion Preventative Care Project, with the goal to not only improve the overall well-being of students on campus, but also in the greater Orlando area. I had the honor of being invited by Dr. Tracy McIntosh, the Associate Dean at UCF Com, to host a workshop to high schoolers, especially of marginalized and minority populations, just because I think that advocacy is so important, teaching the new generation of leaders. I'm part of the Multicultural Association of Pre-Health Students at UCF. Similar to my goals at the Health Promotion Preventative Care Project, I want to improve the overall well-being and make sure that every single person and no community is left out through my aspirations and my goals through both of those clubs. Another thing that I'm involved in is Neuroscience Alliance. This one's a little bit, I do sheep brain dissections, which I think is pretty cool. So that's a little fun fact about me. But I also do the STEM Day Committee. I think it's so important, especially for people of all genders and identities, to be involved in STEM, and that it's not just a niche field that pertains to a certain group of people. But next slide. Yeah, so some other UCF involvement. I do research. I do communication research. So it kind of ties into what I said in the beginning, how communication, I think, is so important, how you can impact other people's lives through just being communicative and understanding that different people have different ways of communicating, and adjusting myself to that. So I do research conducting racial and ethnic concordance in relation to patient-provider communication. I recently won an award at the Student Scholar Symposium, but I think it also exemplifies my passions. I was picked by the former pro tempore to be the only student government representative on Student Advisory Council, where I was able to directly speak with the Vice President of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion as a student voice and make concrete impacts and change structures here at UCF to make it more inclusive and welcoming. I headed a 100% renewable energy campaign. I got a grant for that. Sustainability is something very important to me. I think that everyone, a clean environment, a happy environment, a healthy environment leads to happy and healthy people. And then also, as part of the Central Florida Brain Bee, I taught high schoolers, regardless of their income level, just like knowledge kind of similar to what I was talking about before. I want to make sure that STEM and those fields are accessible to everyone, no matter where they come from. Brody. So as Senate, I was involved on API Caucus Vice Chair and SF Budget Committee. And then I was the external legislative assistant where I worked with the Speaker of the Senate. So I want to highlight only a couple of stuff. It's a lot of stuff on the slide, so you can always read it. But through ELA, I was able to advocate for students directly and worked with administration to collaborate and figure out some solutions based on student concerns. I also created an initiative tracker, so it's important to continue initiatives to guide future senators and greater impact students. So those are two main things that I did. I also pursued initiatives to translate student government documents, and as the ANSF budget committee member, I also made a few infographics addressing student concerns for ANSF to communicate to the whole student body. As you can see, communication is very big for who I am. It's very integral to my personality and what I want to implement as pro temp. Brody, next slide. So these are some of my initiatives. I have a goal sheet on the drive, which kind of goes into way more depth. But some things I wanted to touch on is that I heard like senators during at the orientation talk about how long the meetings are, and they want to reduce the meeting times due to safety of senators. So because of that, I want to make it hybrid, and I also intend to work with the speaker and Brody to see how we can act upon these concerns and reduce the length of those meetings if it does go late. And also, if it does go late, I want to implement measures so that everyone goes home feeling safe. My next thing is the increased internal Senate relations. So like open door policy, similar to what the speaker mentioned. I want to talk to everyone. I want to get to know everyone. I am here for everyone. And I want to bring more socials, maybe potlucks, and just bring a more social aspect to Senate. I want to build institutional knowledge, especially in regards to legislation. I want to make everyone here a leader, someone who can represent Senate. Everyone here is involved in different aspects of campus. So making you all into leaders in Senate, I'm building that institutional knowledge can impact campus in a very widespread way.
1 minute remaining.
Brody, next slide. So what drives me? I started off as a senator, and I was very shy. I didn't really know much, but I became really close to the former pro temp, and there I learned how I can act as a student voice on a larger scale and what he does every single day. And I saw how the pro tempore role fit me as an individual. I want to develop you all into leaders and help you guys achieve your goals. And use all my connections. I have worked with the administration for the hurricane relief. I've had 2 different meetings with Dr. Frame, who's the VP of Student Wellbeing. And then I also sit on Student Advisory Council. So being able to make your dreams and passions come through, and then leave and expand what student government Senate's definition was and make it way beyond that and meet students where they're at rather than have them come to me, or us. So
That's
with that, I
time.
yield to questioning.
Awesome. All right. Senator Borges.
Am I good to start whenever? Holmes. Senate President Holmes.
10 minutes when you're ready.
Awesome. Hey guys, or hey besties. My name is Tyler Borges. I am a senator for the Rosen College of Hospitality Management. I'm seat 1, and I'd be excited to be your Senate President pro tempore. Brody, next slide, please. So here's all my experience. I won't read it for you. It's right in front of you. I'll give you a second. It's quite a bit, and I think it's really important because it proves that I have the knowledge to do this, and I could help each and every one of you in all of these things, from committees to caucuses to our budget, our finance office, everything in between. In addition, so many things that I have done here. If you go to the next slide, Brody, can help you, as the pro tempore does have to oversee a lot of legislation along with the DLEG. So that's a lot of statistics as well. I won't read it off for you or bore you guys. But essentially, as a month ago, I was responsible for 24% of all the legislation passed last session, which I feel like is pretty cool. Putting a lot of work into it. And if you guys have any questions, about legislation, I could totally help you. In addition, just like Damarla, I did a lot of advocacy. ANSF budget transparency, you guys probably saw on the Reddit, we hate student government, they're not transparent. I met with CFO Jared Hector, along with former Pro Tempore Foster, former Dealer McClellan, to get our ANSF Financials website back up there, and that's completed. It's going to be back up. I also got the first ever honors classes at Rosen. If you guys didn't know, it's the only academic college without an honors class. I'm also an honors student, so it's important to me. And then CAPS funding. How many of you guys are like, yay, CAPS? We love CAPS. If you don't raise your hand, I'm concerned. CAPS does not have enough funding as of now, and one of the things that I'm currently working on is getting them on higher pages of the UCF Day of Giving. That's just a few examples of what I've done and what I believe I can help you guys with. Next slide, Brody. So now kind of like to my actual things I want to do, my initiatives for committees and caucuses, chair one-on-ones. I want to meet with all the chairs. You're all probably like, what do I do in my positions? Of course, we meet with Brody or meet with Sierra, but I also want to meet with you to have regular one-on-ones to make sure you understand what you're doing. As you guys saw, I sat on 5 of the 7 committees throughout my time last session. So if you're a chair, I can guarantee I know how to help you do your job. Same with caucuses, same with everything. In addition, transition prep, a lot of you are new. You're probably like, I have no clue what to even do right now. I know a lot of you are scared to ask questions, but it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to say something wrong. Nothing really is wrong. Just ask a question. So transition prep, making sure we have those binders for you, and starting sooner because we just did ours and not everyone finished. But starting now, you guys are going through it right now. You guys know what you need right now. And if we do our transition binders now, the next session will have it way easier. Next slide, Brody. I didn't expect to have 10 minutes. That was a long time. Thank you, Temple. That was a long time. So the next part, education, so workshops, legislation, fiscal minute taking. Of course, I've been a vice chair. I've been a chair, helping you guys make sure you know how to do minute taking, helping you guys know how to see legislation, write legislation, pass it. In addition, sunshine law. I know a lot of you guys at orientation heard about Brody, like, oh, don't text anyone. Like, there's other things about sunshine law that you might want to know, things about transparency, like the budget, like I was talking about. And then, of course, improving new Senate orientation. For those of you who didn't go to orientation, you'd have to do one. So it's pretty important that we improve on it, make changes to it. In addition, I want to add orientations for other branches like exec and legislative, not legislative, judicial and EC, to teach them about legislative because they might not know that much. They might be coming in and like Campbell said, like, the first time we're meeting them is when they have an initiative, but what if they don't know much about Senate? And that's why they're scared to come to us and they're scared to see us, and we can work together that way. Next, centralized place, easy understanding information, cheat sheets and other things. I made a CRT cheat sheet document and a lot of people said it was really beneficial. And I feel like if every single committee had that, that would be awesome. And the last thing is working with ANSF, the business office, to bring back the in-person financial training. So that helps a lot of students. Funding is hard. You guys are probably like, how does funding work? If you guys have done funding, you're probably really confused. And I feel like that'll help a lot of students. Next slide. Sorry, I'm speaking so fast. I'm also, my nose is running. A lot of allergies right now. And I'm also exhausted. I worked this morning. For education, oh wait, never mind. We're in the next one. Office of Pro Tempore. So this one, obviously my office would be me, the Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs, and the DSER, the Deputy Pro Tempore Senate Relations. The first one is a legislation help form. So if you guys are like, I want to do this thing, or I want to advocate for this thing, I want you guys to be able to put in a form and say like, hey, this is what I want to do, but I have no clue how to start. So we could start seeing how to help you and become better prepared instead of meeting with you. The next one, anonymous feedback form. Last session was rough, as I'm sure a lot of you have heard. And if there was a way to give feedback without having to approach someone, I think that'll increase communication without having to actually do it in person, where you may be scared of the person. Pro Temp's office availability. I want to have availability. I want to have office hours for you guys. You guys should be able to come in whenever, have an open door policy, and talk about whatever you need to. Pro Tempore's office presence. Obviously, I want to go to meetings, come to all different branches meetings, show face everywhere at events for everyone. Next slide. My deputies, the DSER, obviously creating a new RSO email template. The DSER contacts a lot of the RSOs as we do represent them here, tell them about funding. But we also tell them about our SBA committee, our GAP committee, our other advocacy in those emails. So I know that was a complaint that a lot of people had. In addition, encouraging more interactions, going to their meetings, speaking with them. Holmes did a really great job with bringing Black RSOs together with fiscal. I was there, and we basically told them, here's how to get funding. And they're like, I had no clue. Hey, this is how you did it. This is how you do it. And I want to make sure we're doing that continuously for all different minority groups and all RSOs. And of course, meeting with senators on ADSB. I know Tamala mentioned, certain senators get put on certain places, and the senator that sits on ADSB, I want to be able to communicate with them so the DSER knows what's happening in all the agencies, CAB, late nights, homecoming, all that stuff. And then for the DLEG, of course, communicating with the ANSF business office regularly. They do the fiscal bills, they meet with the accountants a lot. Of course, working to be a resource for caucuses, and then work closely with the Attorney General, as the Attorney General does a lot, and we have to work with them a lot. And of course, with DSER, I'm an event management major. If you guys didn't know, Rosen, we're all like, yay Disney, yay events, yay this. I'd like to use my event planning experience to help them create fun events for you guys. A lot of people last session were like, wow, we hate this. We're sitting here for 5 hours and I'm so bored and I'm gonna fall asleep. I see a senator falling asleep right now. Like, I wanna fall asleep right now. But if we created, fun things and we all wanted to be here, I feel like that would be great. So the DSER could do that. And then with the DLEG, I really want to make fiscal bill guides and CRT and FAO guides for all of you, because you guys will have to represent RSOs with your fiscal bills. And a lot of you guys are like, I have no clue what to do. We can create a guide for you. And this 10 minutes went by really fast, but basically I'm here for you guys. I have a lot of experience. I know the speech wasn't that great. I promise I'm better, but I'm not so stuffy. But like, if you guys need anything, even if I don't win, like, come reach out to me. I've written so many things. I've talked to so many people. I've done, a lot of advocacy, I feel like, and I want to work with all of you. And Brody, next slide. Thank you. I know that was barely any time at all, so I guess I yield the rest of my time. Thanks.
Senator Canal. You have 10 minutes when you're ready and when, Brody pulls it out.
So I don't have anything to present for you guys.
So 10 minutes when you're ready.
Let's go for it. I'm not afraid to get my feet wet when I have no idea what I'm doing, as is evidenced here. But I am a very quick learner. My classmates can attest to that, and I'm an eager one at that. So that's part of why I came up here, because I know that there's a lot that we can do with our student body, and I'm also a double major. Not only that, I have switched majors quite a lot. So I was very indecisive, but I landed on economics and political science. So that has given me double the exposure to the student body, which I think has been very helpful in growing my perspectives, because I think the most important part of interacting with a very diverse student body such as ours is being open to new perspectives, but also being open to say, hey, I can't go down these paths that some of my friends can, but they can help me learn new perspectives all the same, especially if it's in an area where we disagree. And I think that's where debate is most important, on the things that we disagree with very staunchly, because those are the knee-jerk issues. Those are the things that matter to us most. And if we are able to come together on those, everything else will just fall into line, really. And I say that with managing experience. I am a shift manager back home. I spend my summers working and managing a very diverse team. I know some people who are in the baby boomer category all the way down to Gen Alpha, if you could believe that. Family business type thing. But I'm very glad to have those experiences because, again, it helps me understand a wider range of perspectives. And at the end of the day, that's what I enjoy most about learning, is the fact that there's always going to be something new. And that something new is what connects us. It's how we expand our networks. I think it's more important to connect with people on their interests as opposed to their own connections. I don't think we really need to be building out so much as building up now, because we have a solid base after whatever issues happened in previous sessions. I think it's important that we continue to build up instead of try and build out around that and dance around the issues, which is why, yeah, an open door policy is absolutely essential. But I completely understand if you guys want me to come to you guys somewhere else, as there's a neutral ground on campus somewhere else in the union that you would rather meet. I get that. I get being uncomfortable in places that you feel you should belong. And again, my peers can back me up on this. Being able to be uncomfortable is another skill that I highly value, and it has gotten me disowned, but I would say it's worth it because it gave me the freedom to come up here today and talk to you guys, figure out your perspectives and how I can help you. Again, I know I'm not the most experienced, but I definitely have the drive to do it, and I'm happy to figure it out if you guys will help me along the way, because I know there's a lot of new people here, and I think that's to our benefit if we can all mesh well from the get-go. So thank you for letting me speak to you all, and thank you everyone who spoke before me. So far, everyone sounds like a great option.
Senator Campbell.
Yeah, I don't have any like presentation prepared again. I only have my phone up here just so I can keep track of the time, so I'm not ranting as much. So as y'all already heard, being the fact that none of us have left yet, you heard me speaking earlier when I was talking about running for Senate Speaker. Not much of that information is really changing, so I'm not going to touch on most of that. I'm just going to spend a couple minutes hitting more on like the type of person I am and some things that apply more specifically to pro temp and speaker. In terms of who I am, I grew up in Homosassa, Florida. For those that do know what Homosassa, Florida is, I apologize. Yeah, so my parents co-own and operate a speech pathology business. My mother, being disabled herself, has worked as an expert witness in court trials and is affiliated with a disability and special education law firm. Through there, I gained a passion for kind of being the voice for others that can't speak for themselves for one reason or another. And through the business, actually, I learned some fiscal stuff. For a couple of years, I worked as office manager when need be. I did health insurance billing, auditing. I did office management. I generated schedules. I worked on payroll. Not a fun time, especially the billing part. Insurance companies suck. Yeah, so I do have legitimate fiscal experience. I just don't talk about it much because most of the time it's not necessarily important. But for pro temp, fiscal is a relatively big responsibility. And I will say that Senator Borges, yeah, okay, I just want to make sure. Senator Borges, I would say, has a more years of experience than me, but I would say that the experience that I have could possibly be a more direct application due to my background. As in terms of what I want to get done as pro temp, for me personally, I want to have that open door policy. As returning senators know, I'm very much the type of person that you can just sit down and have a conversation with at any time, or have a multi-hour rants and roast conversation at like 2 a.m. in the morning, which those are fun, but not necessarily the most fruitful or productive. I want to make sure people's voices are heard, and especially for people who are intimidated because they don't know anything and they're afraid to even talk because they don't want to talk about business. They just want to get comfortable with the person first. I'm completely fine with that. If even outside of any position, if you just want to come to talk to me about literally anything, feel free to. I'm an open ear and an open shoulder always. And as pro temp, I want to keep that going. I try to stay consistent in who I am and who my beliefs are, no matter whether it be from a personal or a professional perspective. I try and keep the same because I don't want to be the type of person that flip-flops or changes who they are depending on who they're around. I want to be that consistent person that you can always count on. And I try and do that to the best of my ability. In terms of what I would love to have the deputy pro temps, in terms of what I would love for them to do. For Senate relations, I would absolutely love for them to be able to have these more intimate conversations with both committee and caucus chairs, more specifically caucus chairs, because caucuses historically don't have the best communication. With Senate, it's sometimes a little hard to get things done, as I'm sure former caucus leadership that is returning can vouch for. And I want to keep things more open. For in terms of the other deputy pro tem position, my apologies, I forgot the official title. Having better communications with faculty. When it comes to me trying to get a disability commons done, which has been something I've been trying to work on since I first came to UCF, and even before I came to UCF, when I just kind of grew up here on campus. Disabled people do not have as many RSO representation or agency-based representation that other marginalized communities do. I could, if I really wanted to, I could probably name 10 RSOs purely based on LGBTQ identity, and another 10 based off of race or lineage. I can only name 2 for disabilities, and we don't have those specific organizations that others do, like LGBTQ services. We have SAS, and SAS is primarily compliance with ADA, not a true student aiding organization. Having the ability to have more outreach for communities that don't get the representation that they need, especially for the demographics that they make up, is something that I would love to see change. I yield the rest of my time.
Since there are 4 of you, would you please go sit in the graduate row so that everyone could see you? And the order that you should sit in is DeMarla, Borges, Canal, and Campbell. All right, so is there a motion? Oh, wait. All right, we are now in questioning. Duke? Oh, one moment, please. We are going to go DeMarla, Borges, Canal, Campbell, and then after, when the next question comes, I'll let you know the next order. Go ahead.
Hi. Again, I just want to say you all did amazing. I loved every one of your speeches, and good luck to all of you. But the question I wanted to ask was, what would you say is your biggest weakness? And if you want to address it, like going forward, how would you address that?
Thank you for the question, by the way. I think my biggest weakness is that I can sometimes start out introverted. So when I initially joined the Senate body, I was very shy and nervous. But I do think on the flip side, I'm very eager to learn. I've very quickly learned, and I think plus side of being introverted in a very extroverted Senate position is that I'm able to understand people and kind of observe what people are passionate about, how I can help and find my place in the student body and the student government Senate, and then use those to my advantage to help uplift those around me.
My biggest weakness is that I'm very direct, and those of you from last session know that very well. If I see something wrong, I usually say it right then and there. I'm like, hey, this is wrong, fix it. Hey, this thing, that thing. And that's not exactly the best way to go about working in like an office setting and working with others. And so throughout this last session, I've been working really hard on that. And even in my internship in different areas of this campus, I've been working really hard to be a lot, I guess you could say, nicer about it. Because I'm still going to tell you like, hey, like this thing is wrong. But I'm like, hey, like this is how you fix it. I'll help you with it. I'll do it with you. And as pro tempore, like that is something you have to do. A lot of you guys, if you guys become chairs and vice chairs, you're going to do things wrong, which is okay. And I just have to let you know, but I have to let you know, like, it's okay to mess up. It's okay to not be perfect. Last session, perfection seemed like something that everyone was obsessed with, including myself. And we don't have to be perfect. We're not paid enough to be perfect. We're sitting here for 5 hours every Thursday night. You guys are tired. I'm tired. We have jobs. We have classes. No one's perfect at all.
Thank you for the question. Really good one, getting to the heart of the issues here. My biggest weakness is probably that I can be, I don't want to say scattered, but I'm not in as stable of a position as I would like to be personally. But I think that can become an advantage, and I've tried to look at it as something like that because it's something that pushes me out of my comfort zone. I don't have a safety net to fall on, and that's both exhilarating and a little bit uncomfortable, but we have to choose which one of those things we want to focus on, and I definitely want to focus on the exhilarating bit, because that's what I enjoy. I enjoy trying things that make me uncomfortable, because there is that flip side to it, and there's always going to be that flip side. And I think focusing on that when we interact with each other, just giving more leeway in terms of, yeah, I don't want to automatically assume someone is saying this. I'm really good about being able to wait and say, hey, there's another perspective here that we haven't heard yet. They might not be comfortable speaking it, but I would like to address it, at least touch on it and see if someone else agrees, because we're going to disagree a lot, but I think we agree in a lot more in general. Thank you.
Just as a quick point of clarification, would you say you're asking for what our biggest weakness is as a person or an individual, or our greatest weakness in terms of our work or communications in the Senate?
I was looking more as an individual, but you're welcome to address either or both.
I'll address the person one. So my biggest issue, and it's something I've had since I was a kid, and I just kind of continue with it today. I'm the type of person that will always be there to help others and will always be there when needed, to the detriment of myself. There have been multiple times in my past where I've sacrificed my mental health and much more to help others, and it has ended up costing me a non-insignificant amount. And it's something that I've dealt with for years, and it's something that I'm trying to get better at, and knowing when to say, hey, I need help, or hey, I'm not able to help you right now. It's something that I have to get better at, and it's something that I'm always trying to change, but it's slow.
I'm gonna go, and then Temple.
All right, so I'm a new senator. Well, this is kind of hard because I can't see you, but I'm a new senator, and I've been hearing so much kind of about how negative last session was, especially in the beginning with vacancies and stuff like that. So I was just wondering if I could just affirm that, or understand, have the candidates ever been removed from any positions in SG or outside of SG? Just kind of for my own clarification.
That's going to go Borges, Canal, Campbell, DeMarla. You do not have to answer any questions you do not feel that you want to answer.
The answer is yes. And I know that sounds like, oh my God, this happened. Long story short, I was overworked, underpaid, underadvised. I was treated horribly by pretty much everyone around me. And it really just gets taxing. It really gets mentally draining. I had to go to CAPS multiple times. And then there was an incident where essentially professional staff of the university were berating me, to my understanding, and what I felt at least was borderline harassing me, where I felt that it was not appropriate, and I let them know that. And obviously, in hindsight, that's not the greatest thing to, we're here to serve everybody. So we have to be customer service. But in that moment where I was not getting support from anyone, I was just so drained that I was, protecting myself, protecting another professional staff that was also being berated by that individual. And overall, while it wasn't the greatest thing, I'm kind of glad it happened, because I feel like I'm back better than ever. I understand a lot more. I've been to the bottom. I've had those issues. And if I become pro tempore, I could recognize those issues. I could see those issues before they start to happen. I could recognize them in you and you and you and anyone. And once they start to happen, I could work to make it not happen. And as the only candidate who's ever been through that and ever had to deal with that many issues and that much stress, I believe that I can use to my advantage to help you guys and make sure it never happens again. Because honestly, no one was prepared to help me. No one's been through that situation in that specific way. Even Brody hasn't been here that long. And there was many people who could have intervened, the former speaker, the former pro temp, and former leadership. And I just want better for you guys, because I did not receive better. And as a result, that happened. But I was still, after that, elected ORS chair because they were confident in my abilities to be ORS chair. And I'm here today because I'm excited to have a new slate.
Thank you for the question. I want to say I do relate to that on CAPS, sometimes making issues on top of issues that we already have. When I visited CAPS, they were definitely detrimental. And I don't think that's the best way to address a lot of these issues. I've never been removed from a position like that, but I have been removed from my flock, I guess you would say. But again, part of that, I think peer-to-peer connection is a lot more important than any of these organizational resources that UCF can provide. Obviously, those do a great deal in supporting specific issues that we might have. But at the end of the day, nobody can relate to us as much as we can relate to each other. We all have our personal struggles, so I'm not going to play the grass is greener game because I think we all lose with that. But I will say, again, open door policy is very important. But even if you don't feel comfortable talking to someone because you're afraid of something like that, which is a very real problem, there needs to be channels where we can do that separately. Something like a note system, Teams, talking to people anonymously, like through an intermediary, say our Senate aides. But I think that we have the structures to do that, and moving past the negativity from whatever happened there. Again, a lot of us are new, and I think that's an advantage here. That's a clean slate. So looking forward, I think that's the biggest thing. Looking forward, not backwards.
Before I answer the question, I just wanted to say to Senator Borges, damn man, I'm sorry. That's extremely terrible. And I don't really have much to say in terms of support because I haven't gone through that. And I'm sorry you did.
Please direct all comments, questions, and debate directly to the speaker, please.
My apologies. To answer your question, I've never been removed from a position, but as a caveat, being a senator for student government and being the chair of the Disability Caucus was really the first leadership experience I was given the chance to. Before that, I was never really given the time of day.
Thank you for the question as well. I've not been removed from any position, but some of the concerns that I've heard so far, something that I've just thought of is implementing more. I wanted to mention my speech, but I want to have one-on-ones with every single individual here to promote your well-being and health as a senator, and then see what I can do for you if elected as pro tem. And even as an individual, not even in this position, how can I make you feel safe as a senator working in a position, and then make sure that nothing like that does happen?
We're going to go Temple, then Senator Camilo. Is that how you say it? Camello.
Before I continue, Madam Speaker, I believe a senator needs to be made president voting. College of Engineering and Computer Science, seat 8.
Go ahead. Sorry. Say president voting.
Present and voting.
So noted at 8:47 p.m. I'm sorry, what's your last name?
Larson.
Larson.
All right. So good evening. And I can see it's a very packed field for this office tonight. My question will be quite brief. How do you intend to keep the committees and caucuses on track and how to hold them to account?
We're going to go Canal, Campbell, DeMarla, Borges.
It's a good question. Well, first of all, yes, I want to acknowledge that I haven't been in a student government position before. However, I already have started to create a good relationship with Speaker Holmes, and I trust that all of you, both with experience and without, will definitely help keep me accountable. But as for how I would deal with these student organizations and groups, I think the most direct path is the best, especially if we can get a solid line of communication that's consistent. That's not just a last minute thing. That's a, hey, well in advance of this, leading up to here, how do you want me to help you assist with this timeline? What do you need me to do to help keep these goals on track? Who can I connect you with to help make sure everything keeps going smoothly, that we don't lose time on any unnecessary delays because we send something to the wrong person or it doesn't get where it needs to go in the first place. And I think the teams on Microsoft that we've already created is helping do that, at least in orientation. So I think that's a good place to start. And as for the rest, I trust that we'll have new ideas on Senate that we can bounce off each other for how to do that.
Senator Temple, just to clarify your question, you asked how to keep caucuses and committees accountable. And was there a second component to your question?
How do you, my apologies. How do you intend on going about that?
Got it. Thank you. So I'm going to hit caucuses first, then committees. For caucuses, being a previous caucus chair, being a caucus chair or being caucus leadership, the caucus really becomes what you want to make of it. For previous caucus chairs, it was mainly tackling whatever students came to them with difficulties about, and then that was it. They didn't have any big overarching goals, at least not to my knowledge. When I was caucus chair of Disability Caucus, my main goal was the Disability Commons, and even outside of being caucus chair, I'm still going to work on that. That's something I'm not going to just put down. That I'm continuing to work on that. But caucus leadership is what you make of it. Obviously, you still have to represent your community, and you have to listen to your constituents and those that you are representing. Because if not, what's the point of running your caucus? So you have to keep them accountable. Like if a student comes to that caucus with a concern and you know about it, keep them on track. Like keep them up and say, hey, what have you done about this concern? Have you talked with yada 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 person? Have you talked with this administrator? Have you talked with the staff? Keep them focused on serving the people that they represent. And in terms of committees are a lot more established in what their roles are. So how to keep them from going off track is just not necessarily sit in, because sitting in on every committee is a large time commitment that I don't think most people here have. I know some senators have done it in the past, but as myself being a double major and with a life and a side job outside of UCF, I would not be able to do that. So I would keep up on minutes. I would keep updated on what they are doing. And if they get offhand, I'll remind them of what they do. And try and just put them back on track through polite, positive reinforcement. Negative punishment doesn't really work in an environment like this. Now that it's negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement is really the best way to go around it.
Thank you for the question. I touch up on this more in my goal sheet and my pro temp notes, if you can find in the file, which are notes. I met with the pro tempor's office prior to about a week ago, and I took notes, and they gave me advice and what they learned and what they would like to see for next year. So I took notes, and then I reflected on them. So you can also see that in the drive. But based on that and the goal sheet, I did this last semester. I held one-on-ones with every single individual, or I made myself open to it. And I encourage people to not just make it over Zoom. Like if you're part of an RSO, invite me to an event. We can hang out and get to know each other that way and get to know your passions, your initiatives through Senate. For example, Brianna, who was in Creole last year, showed me all the cool stuff that Creole has to offer and all their different machinery. And then I think we played with prisms for a bit, which was really fun. But another thing that's also in my goal sheet is I talk about having bi-weekly meetings with committee and caucus chairs to make sure that they feel comfortable in their position. And then maybe sit down with them and create a plan and trajectory for where they want their position and where they want to fit into that role. And see what concrete steps we can take to make sure that their goals do come to fruition. And then just as in general, have that open door policy that they can come to me anytime, even after office hours, that I'm here to support them, that I'm here as almost a medium to make their dreams as a caucus or committee chair do become true.
Yeah, so similar to Demarla, that was one of my initiatives. So creating a year-long checklist for all the things each committee or caucus wants to do, and then of course what they have to do. So let's say you're about to be LJR vice chair, one of you will be LJR vice chair. You'll have to send the minutes after the meeting happens. That'll be on the checklist. Send it by this day. Or for chairs, if at Senate we remand something to your committee, I'll have an email sent to you saying, hey, make sure to put this on your agenda. And last year we had former Dilag Wanjin. She made a lot of automated emails where you put it in, you do a little form, and it sends emails consistently, and it'll keep reminding you. And I plan to use that system to remind every single one of you in leadership, like, hey, minutes are due, or hey, this is due, or hey, this thing you said by this date is due. This is coming up in 2 weeks. It's coming up in a week. And during the one-on-ones, just like Demarla, I would speak to you about them. And then I don't know if you guys have seen inside the office, near all of our desks, there's a poster, and it says 53rd Student Body Senate, and then there's an X over it in Sharpie. It says 54th Student Body Senate. That's been empty for quite a while. I want to actually use that. When you guys have initiatives, I want to put it up there. And if you don't do them, everyone knows you didn't do them. And everyone will sit there and be like, you didn't do your job, you didn't do your initiatives. But it doesn't have to be anything harsh, like just lighthearted, just like a visual reminder that, hey, this is what you said you'd do. It's on the office. Marking it off would be great. Have a little celebration. I'll get you a cake if you sign off on your initiative. But it's just stuff like that.
All right, so you all seem like very well-diverse people outside of being senators. This position is a big time commitment. So with that being said, how do you think your previous commitments will affect your position as pro temp?
Campbell, DeMarla, Borges, Canal.
Can you clarify your question really quickly?
Outside of being a senator, how do you think your previous commitments will take away time from you being here with us as pro temp?
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, I am a double major, specifically mechanical engineering and history. Due to the credits that I came in with UCF with, and kind of when I decided to become a double major, I have my classes relatively split between the two. In the past, I have had to drop classes, though that wasn't for educational reasons. That was due to a medical withdrawal, unfortunately. So obviously time commitment was not great there, but that was before I joined Senate. I'm fairly stable right now, and with the class breakdown that I do have for these next couple of years, I'm able to put in enough time to make pro temp something that I can actually put real hours and real work into. Unfortunately, I can't give any definitive numbers because classes change. Professors can make your life harder than it needs to for a given class or make it easier. So unfortunately, I can't give you definitive numbers there. But I can say with extreme confidence that the fact that I'm going for 2 degrees will not interfere with my capacity as pro temp.
Thank you for the question. So, short answer, it won't really impact it. I've been the external legislative assistant for Student Government Senate since August. So I do put a considerable amount of time in for that. It's like 10 hours, but I do usually put more than that. So like this position wouldn't really be that far off, and I'll definitely be able to make time. Moreover, most of what I do on campus and how I do spend my free time is in like meetings with administration. I was invited by the former pro tempore to go to meetings with Dr. Frame, who's the VP of Student Success and Wellbeing. So I spent a lot of my time on campus already meeting with administration, trying to figure out what are these student concerns and how can we tackle them in an effective manner that makes sure that every single voice is being heard. So I already dedicated a lot of time for that. Being the pro temp job wouldn't really change from that.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So if you look at my resume and the documents, there is a ton on there. They might look like, oh my God, you do too much. But right now, all I have on my plate is the Dean's Leadership Council for the Honors College, and then an internship I have at NASA, which is scheduled to end at the end of this semester. And it's also part-time. And as we saw with former pro tempore Foster, his job overworked him so much, but he still was able to do his position, and I'm confident myself to do so. And similar with DeMarla, I was the CRT chair, now the ORS chair, which is 12 hours a week, also NSF vice chair, finance office vice chair, all these things that took up a lot of my time. And I also met with like CFO Gerald Hector, who's really, really high up there. And of course, I'm a hospitality major. Like I said earlier, so you guys don't know, my classes are not hard. You med majors and engineer students, I'm sorry. Good luck. But I learn about wine and Disney and some accounting, which isn't that great, but I have the time for sure.
Great question, to echo my peers here. I anticipated that I would be needing more time, so I went from going to 5 classes a semester as a double major to now I'm scheduled for 4 as of next fall. And I have structured them so that they're mostly around the same times. That way I'll have large blocks of time before and after class days, as well as a spare day on Friday to help dedicate to whatever I might need to be working on in Senate. I know that's going to vary week to week. And again, that's part of figuring it all out. So I have made extra room in my schedule for that. But in terms of juggling a lot of different roles, I'm familiar with that. I'm not familiar with
having so much stability. So I guess I'm used to having things move around a lot. And I enjoy that. I enjoyed that Jenga of figuring out how to get things done on time and meeting the deadlines without coming too close, hopefully, because I'd rather not get a shave off for that if I can avoid it. So I think I'm already prepped pretty well for that. But obviously, I'm willing to work with the chairs and everyone else in Senate to work around their schedules. Because I know even if I have time off on, say, Friday because I have no classes, that's not going to be the case for everyone. So if I need to meet outside of what the usual time is, I'm perfectly open to that, and we just need to communicate and get that to happen.
First, my apologies, Senator Kana. I have been mispronouncing your name, and if I mispronounce anyone else's last name, please feel free to correct me. We're gonna go Senator Trainer, Senator with what is it? DeCara. We're gonna go Senator Trainer, Senator DeCara, and Senator
More.
Moore.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for running for the office of pro tempore. I think that's awesome. So I just have one, I guess it's like one big question. Have you met with any prior members of the pro tempore's office? What is your relationship with them, and how might this help you in your position?
Thank you for the. Oh, sorry. We're gonna go Demarla, Borges, Kana, and Campbell. My apologies.
No, you're good. Thank you for this question. So I did meet with the pro tempore's office. I met with all three, including both the deputies. And in the meeting minutes, you should see my notes that I did take from the meeting. I took them, and then I also worked on how I can make and take their advice and make them into initiatives. I have a very tight relationship with the pro temp's office, to the point that I usually spend time studying in their office, like when Nick's not around. I have like a drawn image of all of us in his office. And I've learned a lot from them. I always constantly depend on Nick to like help me figure out questions about the pro temp position. I've been asking about it for a while, just because as I've seen him work his job on the daily, I've seen how much he's been able to impact every single student and how that falls within my values, my initiatives, and who I want to be as a student government senator.
I have not met with this direct past office because I know that consistently they've talked bad about me behind my back, and they were some of the people I didn't feel comfortable with speaking, and I wish I had an anonymous feedback form for me to reach out to, and I hope that does not happen if I become pro tempore, so you guys can speak to me if you guys are interested in any positions. But I have met with the previous pro tempore and previously, like before this past one. I spoke to them a lot about that position. I worked with them when they were pro tempore and DLEG, helping them make advocacy databases with past legislation. I wrote 9 fiscal bills, as you guys saw, and I don't know if you guys are aware of it. DLEG writes the fiscal bills, not just regular senators, but I still wrote 9 of them. So I had a lot of experience with the previous administration, not this direct past one.
I'm still new here, so I have met you briefly at the orientation. You did a great job of summarizing the general roles and responsibilities for the office, so I feel like I would be comfortable going towards them and asking questions, as well as our faculty help and obviously our speaker. But if I get anything wrong, or if I don't know how to do anything, I'm perfectly fine asking how to figure that out, asking for help, asking about the process. So I think it just, again, the open door is the story of the hour here. We need to make sure that we have our ears, our eyes, and our minds open to new ideas and new ways of doing things, and to being wrong, because we're going to be wrong at times, and I'm perfectly fine admitting that I will be wrong at times, and it's your guys' responsibility and privilege to check me. So I look forward to being checked.
My apologies. So I've never had any official meetings or any meetings with minutes with the previous office. I've had informal conversations and talks with previous members. I've joked around with someone in the past, maybe a running joke or two, but I've never had any official meetings with them. No, so that might be bad on me, but someone doesn't necessarily need official meetings with the previous office to understand what you need to do. Yes, it's very much beneficial, but is it necessary? No. And I don't I don't think that you necessarily need the official meetings to get the information that you need. Sometimes you can just ask a question in passing. They give you just a little piece of information that can connect a bunch of dots in your head, and you have everything you need.
Senator DeCaro.
Seeing that there's a lot of new senators here, how are you going to ensure that? Here, let me look at it real quick. How are you going to ensure that you can individualize our experience and ensure that us as new senators succeed and are also included with returning senators?
Borres, Kanawha, Campbell, DeMarla.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is these team chats are kind of new for all of us. We can learn to do it together and interact on there. But in addition, as an event management major, I do a lot of events, and I love to plan events to have us get to know each other and work together along with the DSER, as that is like part of their job. Having socials, going out, we didn't do a lot of that this year as a whole group. A lot of cliques, went out together and spoke only to each other and went out only with each other. And if like having bigger outings, having a lot more Senate retreats, and we went to one of those courses by the RWC where it was like one of those challenge courses, and that was really, really beneficial, and it was a great time. I feel like doing stuff like that we really didn't do that much last session.
Hello there. I'm also new, as I think I've mentioned about 5 times now. But again, I'm perfectly fine owning that, and also owning that it's going to take us some time to find our feet, probably with so many new senators, in terms of how we can communicate with each other effectively and directly. But again, I think that's it's going to be highly individualized just from the jump. So I think it would be important, first of all, to use Teams and ask, hey guys, would you prefer if we meet here, or would some of you like to meet separately outside? Are you not comfortable meeting with a general group at first? Or would you like to do this through, say, a note system, have it written down, that way nobody feels like they're put on the spot for things like that? And I think that returning members of Senate have a pretty good system worked out amongst themselves already. Might be a bit clicky, but we can work with cliques. I can work with a lot of different people, and we're all going to be learning how to do that better anyway in here. But I think the most important part, again, is just keeping an open mind. Because, yeah, there's a lot of new people here, but I think that's an advantage, new growth versus old growth and all that.
Could you possibly restate your question?
Seeing that there's new senators, how are you going to individualize our experience and ensuring that we succeed as new senators and also include us in like the groups and so with returning senators?
All right, thank you. So in terms of being able to individualize new senators, one thing that I never really let on last session that I'll openly say now, I'm a lot more observant than most people realize. So even with a couple conversations with people, I can pick up on I can pick up on things and be able to recognize them as an individual. While I may be absolutely terrible with names, and sometimes my memory is a little bit wrong due to some various disabilities, it is not hard for me to be able to view a person as an individual and their personality, their interests, their hobbies. It is not hard for me to do that. Like I can give you a couple examples. Senator Duke's obsession with Juicy Couture and Senator Patel's love for Taco Bell. You should have like a buy one, get one free card just permanently at this point. Oh, you do? That's a little sad, but that's for later. But it isn't.
Decorum.
My apologies, Senator Patel. But it is not hard for me to individualize new people as some of the things that I do outside of UCF. That happens relatively often. I'm no stranger to constantly meeting new people, learning new faces, learning new interests from others. And in terms of how to integrate them with the people that are already here, I think it's just an issue of finding people who are like-minded, but not so ingrained enough that it's a clique. And with the low amount of returning senators that we have, yes, I do foresee that there may be one or two cliques that form, but I also foresee a lot of welcoming faces. And I would love to aid in that. Former Speaker Hall said some extremely kind words during his speech at the last session. calling me one of the most welcoming people that any of us have ever met. And that meant an extreme deal to me. So thank you for that. But I want to be able to pass that on to others. And whether it be through me or through introductions with others, making sure that these new senators feels welcome in these new groups that form during the session, and try and just stop these cliques from forming, because I know how it feels to just be excluded from everything.
Thank you for the question. So I think I can answer it by just who I am innately. I love interacting with people. I love meeting people. I can bet like $1 billion that I basically know everyone's name here. I'm very confident in that. Just because I want to get to know you guys. I know various different facts about people, and that's just who I am. Some other things that I've mentioned in my goal sheets is that I want to have a potluck. So bring food from different cultures or just whatever you're familiar with. This is a great way for me to just try new foods, but also get to know what makes you feel at home and some things that represent you, some like who you are, maybe your cultural background, or just if you like mac and cheese, I guess, too, just like what you like. And then also I'm always in the office right now, and I do also plan that as the pro temp if I am elected. So there you can literally just walk into my office. I'm gonna have a literal open door policy, like my door will be open in the office. So you can just come in, talk to me there. I'd love to have a conversation with you. And then also kind of when I touching back on what I said earlier about having those one-on-ones wherever on campus, maybe like the Arboretum, but I want to meet people where they are comfortable and maybe a place that they do feel welcomed already, just so that it's not a new space that maybe they don't feel as safe in, and just make sure that I'm providing a system and an environment where they feel like they are welcomed and they can come and talk to anyone, and perpetuating a strong Senate culture that is driven by our like-mindedness and our collective initiative and passion to help the student body.
In the interest of time, I'm going to take one more question. Senator Patel.
If you had a mentor from SG previously, how have they helped you become the leader you are today?
Borges, Kanawha, Campbell, DeMarla. DeMarla, Borges, Kanawha, Campbell. Thank you.
If I had a mentor from the previous session, it would definitely be the previous pro temp, Nick. I've really grown as a leader through my time in Senate, and I'm always grateful for it. I'm really passionate about student government and what it can do for people and what it can be, going beyond that potential. And it kind of shaped that for me. He came into the position where there was a lot of, I guess, unrest, and he made an effort. He came to me personally, reached out to me, checked on like how I am mentally, and just like got to know me. And through that, I was able to grow and see what does a leader mean and how can I transform it into something that makes everyone comfortable and is who I am. I also got to learn the different parts of the pro temp position and UCF in general. Nick sits on PLC, the President's Leadership Council. So he was able to help me understand like what are the different aspects of campus that maybe I'm not familiar with, and how can I as an individual reach out to these and educate myself on these different aspects.
Yeah, my first ever official mentor was former DLEG Lauren Bonfont, which I'm sure none of you really know, even, yeah, you're 52nd. I miss her. She gave me a lot of insight on DLEG, which of course is under my office if I'm elected, but also just as a person. She was a graduate student, which as you could tell, we don't really have any, and they know quite a lot about a lot, not just school or Senate, but also about life. She taught me a lot of hard life lessons, and she was also very direct with me, telling me, hey, this is stupid. Hey, this is not great. This is better. This is a better way to phrase that. And just really helped me as a leader kind of develop myself. And then she, of course, taught me a lot about fiscal, and then, of course, a lot about just how Senate works. So when I was an SGLCer, I was attending committee meetings every single week. Former CRT chair Block became an unofficial mentor because I went to CRT every single week to learn it. And she told me about how she really needed caps and how difficult it was to be CRT chair, and the stuff that you would go through. And at the time I didn't believe her. And then of course definitely all came at once, and it was a lot. And I feel like these mentors, kind of gave forewarnings and kind of gave like, oh, like Senate has issues, but they also gave me a lot of insight on life, and I feel like I'm better off because of it. I might not have had the mentor like DeMarla had, but I feel like I learned a lot of life things. I feel like we should be learning more about life in here too, not just about Senate, because life matters. And we only have one of them. We just had our Eternal Knights proclamations not that long ago, and I feel like being a mentor means also Senate, but also life.
I haven't had a mentor personally, but I'm sure plenty of you who are returning senators have seen me loitering in the SGA office. I do go in there pretty often, usually after classes on most days, and I can hang out in there, get some work done, listen to the general chatter, and start getting a feel for things early on. So I'm a big fan of it being a general mentorship program, I guess, where everybody can reach out to anyone for help. And I think that's a good way for us to start building that connectivity and meshing together, because it might seem cliquey, but at first we're going to gravitate towards like goes towards like, and then we build up from there. And the important part is to just not get stagnated there with people like you. But I think the fact that there are so many of us in a diverse group running for this seat shows that we're already starting to make those inroads, and we're starting to build those bridges where we need them. So I think that would be a lot more effective than, say, trying to designate specific mentors. Obviously, you can reach out to specific people if you have interest in their position in the future. But in general, I think the starting place is most important to see where we're going to launch off from. And that is just general communication.
My apologies, Senator Patel. Can you please restate your question?
If you had a mentor in SG before, how have they I forgot my own question. How did that mentor form you and help you grow into the person you are now today?
So when I joined SG, it was on the recommendation of Senator Tache. He wasn't really a mentor. He was more of a peer giving me a recommendation. In SG, I would say that I haven't really had a peer. I haven't really had a mentor. I've reached out to peers, whether it be former speaker, former Pro Tem Foster, other senators. And I've reached out to them as peers when I've had some questions, but I've never really had a mentorship experience, so I can't really speak on that. But I can say that even from just these peer-based experiences, they've given me more confidence to continue the work that I want to do, whether it be through Senate or outside of Senate. It is extremely beneficial to have people like them in your corner. And even whether it be from a mentor or a peer, those aids, those communications can be a life changer.
Motion, Temple.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in debate. Butler, Temple, Duke.
Okay, I think everyone who is running is very great, but I'm gonna say I'd be for Senator DeMarla because she seems very devoted about the position, and she also took the time out of her day to go up to the Tempore and learn more about the position and everything like that. And also online, it's like she has a lot of, notes on her goals and initiatives. So she basically planned out most of it already. And I think her initiatives and goals are going to be good for this session.
Temple.
All right. So I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This feels like a multiple choice question where all four answers are pretty much correct, if you're getting my drift. All four of these candidates here are very qualified in their own unique way. And frankly, it is very difficult for me, to determine who among you would be a good pro temp. However, given the fact, just for sake of bluntness, I will be voting for Senator Borges. Of course, there has been an amount of controversies in the past. Prior senators can attest to that. However, and this is a big however, the amount of experience that Senator Borges has had, both as an SGLCer and then as a senator, and as two chairs of fiscal committees, as well as a member of the finance office and as a member of the budget committee, there is a lot that Senator Borges has seen and can attest to. The office of the pro temporeship is a very complicated, very nuanced position that requires a lot of technical knowledge, both on matters of legislation, but also regarding fiscal affairs. And I'm not just talking about like CRT FAO, but also regarding regarding how those funds are being used, and also the budget, because the pro tempore does sit on the budget committee as well, mind you. So the experience that Senator Borges has had on that committee, as well as the experience that he's had on 5 of the 7 committees, can help assure me that his experience regarding internal and fiscal affairs would make him a fantastic speaker.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna say the same thing at the beginning that Ethan just said, that like every single one of you is incredibly qualified. I can attest to like the returning senators, like for the new senators in the room.
Can you get closer to the mic, please?
Yeah, sorry
Thank
about that. Borges's fiscal knowledge is insane. I sat on CRT for the short period of time that I was in the last session, and every time he came in, he just knew all the answers. It was insane. Damarla is incredible too. Like, she has a lot of experience with the past office, and every time I've talked to her, she's been very knowledgeable and very helpful. If I had to choose, though, I'd probably go with Senator Campbell. I sat as their vice chair in the Disability Caucus for most of the time I was in the last session, and just their drive and passion to improve Senate and improve conditions for marginalized communities and just everyone in general is like super inspiring to me personally. And I think that they have definitely like a lot to learn about the office, but they do have a lot of knowledge currently. And I think that they would have like a lot of room for growth within the position.
Senator Matal, Yalamanchili, and Laquez. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, same thing as everyone said before. The great choices. I would be voting for Senator DeMarla, mainly because as a new senator, she came to me during orientation and she listened to things that I thought, because at that point I had little to no knowledge about how Senate worked, and she kind of helped me determine what would be a good way to move forward with these things. And she really approached me and listened. And on top of that, just hearing her speech today and seeing, as somebody else mentioned, all of her goals and her notes, and it's really shown that she's really done her research on how the previous pro temp worked, and how they're going to and how she's going to move forward if she gets elected. And on top of that, I think that she just has a really good track record, and just her ability her innate thing where she said I bet I know everyone's name and stuff like that, shows that she's really taking her one-on-one promise. She's really actually acting upon that.
Yalamanchili.
So I agree with Senator Temple's sentiments. It is extremely hard to choose between these 4 candidates. I personally know them all, and I think they're wonderful people, and I love them all as well. But if I had to choose, I too would vote for Senator Borges, because he has a long list of experience in student government. And one of the big parts of being pro temp is writing fiscal bills. And as the former CRT chair, I have no doubt that he will be able to write fiscal bills with ease. And whenever I have asked him on fiscal policy, he has never given me with an answer of "I don't know." So he is an incredibly knowledgeable person, is incredibly devoted to student government, has been here for about 2 years, and has gone through a lot. And so I really admire him for that. And I do believe he would be a great pro temp. And so I will be voting for Senator Borges. Thank you.
Senator Laquez.
So, not to sound like a broken record, but all 4 of these senators, absolutely amazing. I'd love to see you all in leadership in some capacity. DeMarla has just such a wealth of experience in, just professional leadership positions. Kanaz shows such passion and bravery for standing for this position, even being new. It just shows that you really care about what you want to do. Campbell, they have just shown such a dedication to advocacy and speaking out for marginalized groups. And it's just very passionate. And I can tell that there's a dedication to openness, which is very important. But Borges has to have my vote because he is the only candidate I see that envelops all of these personality traits that I feel like are so important to have in this leadership position.
Senator Samello, and then Senator, how do you say your last name?
Morset.
Morsai?
Morset.
Morsai. Okay, go ahead.
I will say Senator Voorhees is a very experienced applicant, and as you can tell, he's eager to teach us and is a good person to help. However, based on resources, motivation, and availability, I will be voting for Senator DeMarla.
All the candidates are amazing. I believe somebody who's leading the pro temp's office should be somebody who is sociable and can be somebody who can inspire everybody that is under them. Therefore, I believe DeMarla would be personally my pick, especially as somebody who's coming from SGLC. I would need the motivation and just the encouragement to be able to move forward and be an impactful senator for everybody within my College of Business and just everybody in the UCF student body. And I believe DeMarla would be the best pick. I would love to use her as my therapist whenever I would go into the pro temp's office. So therefore, she has my vote.
Matthew, what's your last name?
It's a Hochfelder.
Hochfelder?
Yeah.
Okay. Hochfelder, and then
More.
Moore. Okay, Hochfelder, Moore.
Okay, to begin, just like everyone else said, obviously we have 4 great choices ahead of us. I think out of all the presentations that I was left with, Senator Borges certainly left me with, if I have a question, I'm going to go to him. And I kind of think, I'm new. I'm, graced with the gift that I don't know any of these individuals. So I don't have a personal bias. I just know that if I have a question, this is the senator I'm going for. And I think in a candidate, that's really sort of what's best. It's the person that has all the answers in the position that needs all the answers. And I'm not trying to disparage any of the other candidates. I think they're great. I'm certain there's other leadership positions that can be filled with that. But I just think, and also just the directness, you want someone in charge that has the answers, that's direct. And, sometimes like we're going to see with administration, past sessions I've seen, there's going to be a little fire, but every sword is forged in fire, as my grandfather used to say. What comes with the heat comes experience. And I think that's where my vote's going, the senator with experience.
More.
I feel like we've heard a lot of opinions about all of our great candidates, and I motion to move to a vote.
There has been a motion to vote. Are there any objections?
I object.
Do you withdraw?
Can you clarify what that means?
That means, do you take back your objection?
Yes.
Okay. Trainer Patel, did you have your hand up? Patel. Laurel, what's your last name?
Richmond.
Richmond. So Trainer Patel, Richmond.
All right. So just echoing what everyone else has said, I think all of these candidates are fantastic, but I'm going to be personally voting for DeMarla. So I first met Akila last year in my ENA. She was one of the first senators I actually met. And right off the bat, she was extremely personable and helpful. And one thing that I noticed when I was in that ENA was she was one of the only people that actually looked at me during my interview. And that really stuck out to me and was pretty powerful. She really cares a lot, and that's been shown all throughout the 54th session. One thing that I will note that was so helpful was her creation of the initiative tracker, which in SBA we actually used part of it to help new senators understand what our committee does. And I think that her understanding of how the pro temp's office works, she was the ELA, so she was not only part of her own position as the ELA, but also part of the whole general PT's office. And because of her experience with that, she understands not just what she can do, but what other positions in the pro temp's office do. I think that a strong pro tempore is going to need to have that foundational knowledge of not just what needs to be done, but also what should be done. And I think that she's going to be the best fit for it. Her familiarity is just be off the charts. And for that, I'm going to be encouraging everyone else to vote in favor.
Patel.
So I'm going to be voting in favor of DeMarla. I'm just going to be direct with my reasoning. DeMarla has always worked closely with the pro temp's office in the past. She previously used to work in the speaker's office, and I'm really happy to see her step up in a role of leadership. She really interviewed me a lot about my job. I kept deflecting at first because I didn't really have time, but she was persistent and really committed to learning about it. So eventually we had 3 sit-down sessions and basically explaining my role. So I'm really happy for her to do that because she also did that with the rest of our deputies in pro temp's office. Campbell and Cano, I think it is. I have a lot of respect for you guys running. I appreciate it, but I'm going to be honest, they just didn't have as much experience as the other candidates for this role. Borges, unfortunately, I won't be voting for him. He's a controversial figure, as he mentioned. But as a prior senator, I know a lot about the controversy. And to be frank, I'm not really a big fan of it. In the past, like we had a chemistry professor named Dr. Lapidus who we threatened to revoke funding from. She personally sent me and like our office like a letter and email saying how he should not be in the position he was. And he should be. Basically, we've had a lot of problems with outside of Senate, with administration, the College of Sciences dean. And I basically don't think that's a professional behavior that we should elect into our leadership. And it could get us in trouble. It has got us in trouble in the past. We've had meetings canceled with the College of Sciences dean because of bad behavior. And I frankly don't want that to happen again. So I think we should choose our leadership wisely. And I recommend Senator DeMarla.
Let's make sure decorum is stated when disrespectful things are being said and we're not limiting others' freedom of speech. Thank you. Richmond, or
Thank you. Once again, I think all 4 candidates are amazing, and I'm confident that any one of them will do a great job. But I will be voting for DeMarla. She made it a point to meet everyone. She knows everyone's names, kind of like Speaker Holmes, which I think is cool. And she also has talked to the previous pro temp and just knows what she's doing and what she needs to do. So I'll be voting for her.
Stephanie, what's your last name? Bishop.
I just want to say everyone up there is super qualified, super intelligent, super kind, super welcoming. I've at least had like brief conversations with each of you, and I can't wait to grow our relationships more. However, I will be voting for Senator Borges just because he does have the knowledge on fiscal that is so needed for the position, as well as being just such a welcoming figure and being someone that I can come to with literally any question that I have, any worries, being someone that's just so willing to share any opportunities and any knowledge that he has, which is a lot, and being such an encouraging figure to be able to push me. I wasn't even going to run for Senate at first. He was just very encouraging, and I'm very thankful to have someone so supportive.
Last name?
Kairos.
Kairos. Senator Kairos. And then I'll see Senator Tum.
I was actually moving to vote.
Oh, it's been a motion to vote. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in voting procedures. Please stay quiet during voting. As you can see, your voting options are up there. DeMarla is number 1, Borges is 2, Kana is 3, 4 is Campbell, and 5 is abstaining if you are not wishing to vote. With a vote count of 21 to 12 to 1 to 4 to 1, congratulations, Senator DeMarla. You are now Senate President pro tempore. Thank you to all our candidates who had a respectful election, and thank you to you all for being respectful in your questioning and debate. I am now going to move to recess Senate for 5 minutes. I hereby recess Senate at 9:32 p.m.
Bro, I was kidding, actually.
Congratulations. My bad, my bad. I'm so sorry. But congratulations. Congratulations. I'm excited to see you.
Oh, God, yeah. I should have done it for like 10 minutes. We can do it right up here in front of the flag. Akila. About what?
You have to put people on committees and make sure that.
Oh, yeah. All right. It's now Women's History Month extended. I see that.
Hey, y'all, I'm actually going to do 9:40, so you have 2 more minutes. All right, I reconvene Student Body Senate at 9:40 p.m. Open forum. Are there any non-senators wishing to speak during open forum? All right.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon Greenaway, and I'm your president-elect.
And hi, you guys. My name is Colby Smith. I am the vice president-elect.
We just wanted to say congratulations to everyone in the new leadership. Best of luck this session. We're so excited to work with you all. Best of luck with upcoming chair elections and all that fun stuff going on. And shoot for the stars, and we'll all have a great year.
Yeah. Another thing I was gonna say is like I loved this meeting today. Even just with the past senators and the new ones, be yourself, be vocal. Just me being, this is my second year in student government now. So just seeing how much you can grow doing those past 2 years. Brandon's been here his whole time at UCF. So just putting yourself out there, being yourself, and being okay to be yourself matters. So just for all these people that just got their positions as well, we all put ourselves out there. I didn't think I was going to be in this position. I don't think Brandon did. But us doing that as a student matters. So just do that. Good luck. You guys are going to do great.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your night, guys.
Are there any other non-senators wishing to speak during open forum? Dylan?
All right, I haven't had to do that long walk in a long time. But all right, most of y'all know me. Dylan was speaker, no longer speaker. I just wanted to first congratulate Speaker Holmes as well as Pro Tem DeMarla for, hard-fought victories tonight, as well as for all those who ran. I know from experience just a bit that it can be very nerve-wracking. It's very difficult, so it takes a lot. Specifically, Senator Kenna, Chair Campbell in my mind, as well as Senator Borges, and was that everyone? That was everyone, right? Yeah, that was everyone. All right, but yeah, all that to say, great work to everybody. I think that y'all are in very steady, good hands, as well as I will say that this is the beginning of a new opportunity for you all. And kind of just to reiterate what I had said to you all during orientation, that this is a moment for all of you to look at what you want to do here. That you have upcoming chair races, you have upcoming caucuses, things like that. You have applications for both of these great offices that kind of take a page after Senator Kenna's book and apply, run, do whatever makes you happy, whatever interests you. Don't think that because you're new here that you can't, you're not qualified for something, you're not able to do something. This is an opportunity to make of this moment what you want to. And then kind of just to leave you all with, I'm very hopeful that the work of the 54th will help carry into the 55th and that y'all will do amazing work to continue to stand up to this university that is under constant attack, whether it's from the state or other entities that try to look at our community that's very diverse and is very committed to the values of diversity, equity, inclusion, and look to destroy those things out of ignorance. You all are on the front lines of that fight now. I could speak more freely, not being the speaker anymore, but you all have a unique opportunity now to make it very clear to a certain somebody who's about to run for president that his kind of rhetoric and nonsense is not welcome at this university now or ever, and that this community is committed to fighting for each and every person, regardless of who they are, regardless of where they come from, regardless of who they identify or who they love. So take that responsibility and understand that while yes, you're passing bills, you're meeting in committee, you're also fighting for a student body that at this time is very vulnerable. And this is an opportunity to be their champions, to be their voices, but to also allow them to speak through you, allow their voices to be at the forefront of this conversation. So with that, I wish you all the best. Thank you all. It's been great. Y'all are going to do amazing. Good night.
Are there any other non-senators wishing to speak during open forum? All right, sorry, my computer fell asleep. Seeing none, announcements from the student body president, none. Announcements from student body vice president, none. Comptroller's report, Jen.
Hi, everyone. So I'll be doing the comptroller's report. The CRT current account balance is 68,289.55 cents, and the reversion rate is 0.74%. And the FAO current account balance is $14,592.06, and the reversion is 0.78%.
Are there any questions for Jen regarding the comptroller's report? Seeing none, thank you, Jen. Attorney General's report, none. Cabinet Forum, none. Oh, she does? Oh, sorry.
No, you're So for Caitlin's report, she says, congrats to all the newly elected senators. Special shout out to Caitlin's mentee, Allison. Not much from me tonight. If you would like to request an opinion, please email me or use the opinion request form that can be found on the SG website.
Are there any questions for Jen regarding the Attorney General's report? Seeing none, Cabinet Forum?
No report.
None. Announcements from the Chief Justice, Chief Justice Silva.
Hi, Senate. Congratulations to everyone here tonight. A special congratulations to now Speaker Holmes and Pro Tem DeMarla. You guys slayed. Lots of new faces, so I thought I'd just introduce myself. My name is Lizzie-Beth Silva, and I'm the Chief Justice of the Judicial Branch. A little bit about me and what the branch does. We deal with parking appeals, grade appeals, impartial advising, and fiscal appeals, and obviously more, but I'm not going to bore you. I love matching my shoes to my purse, saying the word slay every chance that I get, and listening to Bad Bunny in the weekend. This week, the Judicial Branch worked on a couple more documents to put up on the Night Connect and updating the parking appeals FAQ. So that'll be up shortly. Next week on the 12th, the branch will have Jars with the Justices event in the atrium from 2 to 4, and we will be having just students filling up jars with candy and spreading the word about the judicial services. So please attend. It'll be so fun. And with that, I just want to say, I want you guys all to feel welcome in my office. It's the first one on your right when you walk in. And my office is super cute. I have a beanbag and a beanbag chair. And I usually have snacks and my essential oil diffuser and a little Zen garden that everyone likes to play with. So if you just want to come on by, say hi. I want to become friends with all of you guys.
Are there any questions for Chief Justice Silva? Seeing none, thank you. Oh, Temple.
Just a very silly question to the Chief Justice. Where did you manage to get a beanbag chair?
On Amazon.
Are there any more questions for Chief Justice Silva? Seeing none, thank you. Announcements from Supervisor of Elections, Supervisor McGregor.
Hi, Senate. I hope everyone is doing well, and I'm so happy to see the new Senate session in these seats. I want to congratulate each and every one of you for getting elected into the 55th session, and congrats once again to Speaker Holmes and Pro Tem DeMarla. I cannot wait to hear about all the great things you all will do in this chamber. In case you don't remember me, I am Carly McGregor. I'm the Supervisor of Elections. I'm in charge of the Election Commission, the fourth branch of student government. We deal with all things election, including marketing, facilitating, executing elections. Our branch is comprised of myself, Grace, the Assistant Supervisor of Elections, and 8 other election commissioners. And we work closely with ENA revising statutes and attending meetings. So if you end up being on the ENA committee, I will be in a few of your first meetings before I graduate to help write legislation for Title VI changes. Other than that, I look forward to seeing all of the work that you guys do this year, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Supervisor McGregor? Seeing none, thank you. Announcements from Activity and Service Fee Committee Acting Chair, none. Announcements from the Scholarship Committee Chair, none. Announcements from the Senate President. Thank you all for trusting me to lead you for the 55th session. You're probably wondering when ILA and ELA positions will open up, and I'll have that readily available for you all next week. But if you're interested in the position, I would recommend that you go ahead and look at Title III to see the obligations of what the job entails. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I don't have access to my email now, but if you want to come up to me, ask for my phone number, I'm more than happy to give it to you. And my office hours will be released soon, so please stay on the lookout. Are there any questions for myself? Seeing none, announcements. Oh, sorry. Announcements from internal legislative assistant, none. Announcements from external legislative assistant, none. Senate President Pro Tempore report, Pro Tempore DeMarla.
Hi guys, similar sentiments. I'm very grateful for you guys to pick me to do this position. So I really do hope I apply myself really well. I took some notes during the actual debate and the questioning process. So some other things based on what I heard the other candidates and students, senators asked for is maybe like a mentor-mentee system. If that is something interested, please tell me. Based on like how much interest there is, I'd love to start that. And then also making increased fiscal knowledge more accessible to everyone. Those are the two things that stuck out to me during that. So I also wanted to add them to the initiatives that I plan to pursue on top of the ones that I've already mentioned. And then also I'll be opening my deputy positions. I encourage everyone to apply. I'll kind of explain them a little bit now, but you can also email me or once again read Title III for them. So I have 2 deputies. They're just assistants, just like a different name for it. But there's a deputy pro tempore of legislative affairs. Historically, it's been someone that has a lot of fiscal knowledge. However, as we are a new body, I want to prioritize that not everyone needs to know everything and that this can be a learning job. The past DLEG didn't really have that much fiscal knowledge going into it, and he was amazing at his job. So what I'll be doing is I'll be doing like an interview and an application process. So the interview will be more like critical thinking based, so that it doesn't favor one person over another and just make it as like a learning process instead. And then DSER will also be an application and interview process. And the DSER stands for Deputy Pro Tempore of Senate Relations. So you handle more of the internal stuff, kind of what the name implies. Just like making sure that Senate is a comfortable and safe environment. But yeah, so thank you so much for voting me in. Please reach out to me, and I will also be sending an email tomorrow regarding my office hours and the open positions.
Are there any questions for Senate President Pro Tempore DeMarla? Seeing none. Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs report, none. Deputy Pro Tempore of Senate Relations report, none. Brody, can I just say caucus reports, none, or do I have to go through all of them? Caucus reports, none. Unfinished business, none. Fiscal Committee caucus time, none. Fiscal Committee reports, none. Fiscal legislation, none. Internal Committee reports, none. Confirmations, none. Internal legislation, none. Senate Forum, are there any senators wishing to speak during Senate Forum? Senator Semello.
This is just kind of something, who runs the world? Girls.
Girls do. No discrimination there, but. Did you have your hand up? No, Senator Temple?
I believe Senator Campbell had their hands up first.
My apologies, Senator Campbell.
No, actually, I had my hand up later.
I like the ping pong here, but anyway, so I'm going to Senator, Speaker Holmes and Pro Tempore DeMarlo, I've heard this speech before, and this is actually last week's meeting, but here we are. First meeting of the 55th session, eh? For the new senators in here, I know it feels really weird for you to be here in a formal meeting with all these formal procedures and the like, but there are people in this room as well who will back you up, and you will not be able to fall behind with people in this room. Like, for example, Senator Borges, former chair trainer, our new leadership there, and of course, Senator Patel. There's a lot of knowledge behind this new body. And of course, we have our lovely advisors here as well. If you have any advocacy ideas or just want to branch out and try to make your seat your own, go for it. And this is going to be really cheeky of me, sorry, but I pulled this song once before. It's the, yes, Senator Campbell, you know it already. It's a song from, it's a song by a British group known as Gary and the Pacemakers, known as You'll Never Walk Alone. It is the anthem to not only Celtic, an Irish club, but also my personal Premier League club, Liverpool. And I'm not going to read you the lyrics, but you ought to know that this body is meant to unify, and it is meant to bring all the unique views, all the unique ideas, and all the unique passions in here, and amalgamate them into one body meant to epitomize what it means to be not only a student of this university, but also as an American citizen as a whole. You are not one who will be left out. You will not be left in the dark. You will have somebody in your corner. You will have somebody at your side. And you will never walk alone.
Senator Campbell?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say to the returning senators, welcome back. Let's see what antics we get up to this time. And for new senators, welcome from me and everyone else who's returning, whether it be the assistants that we have or other returning senators and our new leadership. Make what you do your own. Don't necessarily worry about who came before you, what you have to live up to. Don't worry about those things, because legacies are made to be passed, but they're also made to just be historical things to look back on. You don't have to follow the same path the person that came before you did. And you're not supposed to either. You're supposed to be yourself. So be it. Don't be afraid to just be yourself. I'm certainly not. I didn't, as you could tell from earlier, I didn't have any real plans for running for speaker or pro temp. I did it because I wanted to. And so I did it. And while it might have been a little impulsive, to say the least, I did it for me. And that's what you all should do. Don't do something because someone told you. Sometimes it can be beneficial, but do things for yourself, whether it be for your own enjoyment or for the enjoyment you get out of helping others. Just make what you do here your own.
Senator Cantrell?
Welcome, everybody. It's going to be a great session. And, oh man, he's not here. But in the wise words of Juan Carlos Almanar, please join ENA.
Senator Yalamanchili?
Welcome back, everyone. I just wanted to make my personal recommendation. Actually, this isn't a recommendation. This is just a recount of my experience. I really had a lot of fun while I was in the GAP committee. A lot of fun. Fun that I can't describe. Thank you.
Seeing no further hands, Senate deliberate. Oh. Campbell?
Please, no more ENA memes. Please.
All right. Seeing no other hands, Senate deliberations. This is a opportunity to deliberate on one specific topic. No? Good choice. None. Advisors report. Brody.
All right, everybody, welcome. Happy to have you here. Glad to see all of your beginnings, to see all the growth and change that you go through over the next year. So that's exciting. Okay, first of all, congratulations on the first meeting being run with Teams. That's so exciting. If you have had an issue or are currently having an issue with Teams, please just let me know. We'll work through it. Teams is going to be a pain for a while as we navigate all of the various challenges that inevitably will come. But we're going to do it. So that's exciting. So yeah, please just, if you have any issue at all, just let me know and we'll work through it. Okay. Tomorrow morning, at some point, look to be added to a bunch of new Teams channels. If you haven't, read to the end of the page, you'll be added onto a bunch of committees and caucuses and things. There are channels for each of those, so you can use those to communicate with that caucus or that committee. So please look to be added to those. you will use those to schedule that first committee meeting, which Akila will do tomorrow at some point. So yeah, look for that. Also look to be added to the Senate Night Connect page. That's a fun place. You can check it all out also tomorrow. Probably other things that you need to know that I'm forgetting, but we'll get to that next week when I am reminded of it or when one of you reminds me of it. Lastly, I just want to say that I'm here. If you didn't hear it during orientation, my job strictly is to help you all be successful. That is my 90% of what I am trying to do at any given moment is trying to help you be successful. So whatever that looks like in whatever shape or form that is, that's what I'm trying to do. So please use me as a resource. Come ask questions, look for advice, whatever it may be. If you just want to stand there and talk through your plan and have me go, yeah, cool, sounds great. Like I can do that. So whatever level of support you need, that is what I'm here for. So yeah. Lastly, in case you're new here, at the end of my report, I always like to do senator shout outs. That's a tradition that's been handed down from before me in this role. But it is a chance to shout out your fellow senators or others if you need to, for just their excellence or them going above and beyond. And if you, an opportunity for you to highlight other people and what they're doing, because you all are doing great things, and it's important to talk about those and remember all the cool things you do. So with that, that's all my announcements. We'll dive into some senator shout outs. So yeah, start with you, Campbell.
I have no shout outs. I'm just going to say, Ethan, please say no more than 3.
Ethan, you do what you want. Yeah, that was me calling on you.
I have no idea how many I'm actually limited to. Is there a
Nope.
limit?
Ethan, you do what you want.
You know what?
It's fine. Relax, people.
For the sake of the first meeting, I'll only limit myself to 3. I can't promise any further limits from moving on. All right. So I wanted to actually first shout out Senators Kenoff, Borges, and Campbell for running, Campbell in particular for running for both Speaker and Pro Temp, and Senators Borges and Kenoff for running for Pro Tempore. I also want to shout out Senator Hurst, who had been able to come in despite being ill. Plaudits to her for sticking through the majority of the what are they called? Elections. Sorry, very long day. And of course, what is it? Oh, shout out to Aloe for who's about to graduate here soon. There, I stuck to my 3. Good luck keep being limited next time.
All right, we got him.
Firstly, I'd like to shout out our new Speaker Holmes and Pro Temp DeMarla for being elected and being our new leadership. I'm completely confident that y'all will do an awesome job. 2, another shout out to Senator Hurst. She is a close friend of mine. I was very worried about her yesterday and today morning, and I'm really, really happy to know that you are well and able to be here today. She is going above and beyond what she has to do. Please get some rest, please. And next, I'd like to shout out everybody who ran. So Senators Borges, Kenoff, and Campbell, y'all were great, and I wish you the best of luck. And that's about it. Thank you. Oh yeah, and I forgot. Shout out to Aloe as well.
All right, that's enough for them. Rihanna.
I just wanted to shout out to start off with Speaker Holmes and Pro Temp DeMarla. Not to sound like a broken record like everyone else, but you guys are going to kill it. I have complete faith in both of you. And then I also wanted to shout out Aloe for running over to help you set up teams at the beginning of the meeting. Thank you for that.
All right. I'm so sorry. Remind me of your name.
Danny.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Ethan, you thought I forgot your name in the 12 seconds it's been since you spoke? What are we doing here?
It's been a long month and a half. I'm
All right.
sorry.
All right. Sorry, can you give me your last name real quick?
Morissette.
Morissette, thank you.
I just want to shout out all the former SLCers that are here tonight, which I believe would be Allison, Stephanie, and Kylie, because we sacrificed half of our banquet to be here tonight. But that's because we put Senate first, and it's more important. But I also wanted to shout out anyone who was their mentors, because they obviously played a role in them being here tonight. So congratulations to you guys too.
All right. Kylie.
I wanted to give a quick shout out to, well, Ryan left, but AJ as well, who's sitting right over there. I got SLCer of the year, and that is all because of you. I'm gonna be cheesy like that. So thank you for everything you did and everything you taught me throughout the past year. You've really helped me be the person I am today, sitting here today. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, thank you, Ryan, for being my mentor.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm also gonna shout out the new speaker and pro temp. Hey, congrats, you made it. Had to give you some competition though. Come on, you can run unopposed. And Akila, you already had some competition, but I might as well jumped in. Come on, it was fun though. It was fun. But yeah, best of luck to you two. And don't be a stranger.
All love.
Tomorrow.
Shout out to all the new senators. I'm so excited, genuinely excited to work with you all. And then also a shout out to Foster. Is he still there? Yeah. For being just an amazing mentor, and I hope that I can fill in his shoes.
All right. Ethan?
Of all the people to forget this one, I feel the most stupid because I forgot to shout out all the people who went to Day at the Capitol on Tuesday and killed it up in Tallahassee. That's all.
All right. It's here.
I want to shout out all the new senators for being here. I know it's been a long night. I want to shout out Senator Pro Tempore DeMarla, and just thank you all for your time. And I really look forward to a new session. Shout out to our advisors over there. Brody helped me with my team technical difficulties. Thanks for y'all's patience. And that's it for me.
DeMarla?
Where do I do DeMarla's drip down?
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh yeah, we'll add it. We'll add it to the agenda. No worries. Oh, that's a good one. All right. Any other senator shout outs? All right. Oh yeah, Vihan.
Shout out to you, Brody. You're really awesome.
Thanks. All right. Yeah, Aiden.
Yeah, shout out, Brody.
All right, and with that, we will.
Motion to move to
Yeah. All right, Netta's turn.
Hello, everyone. My name is Neda. I'm the graduate assistant. Let's see, what did I put in here? Oh, yes, I'm here for all of you, here to help your transition into Senate be as smooth as possible and make your time in Senate hopefully pleasant. Me and Brody will be like sitting in on all the committees and caucuses that y'all will be at once Akila goes ahead, or Pro Temp DeMarla, my bad, makes the schedule. So yeah, you'll see us there. And also me and Alla will be hanging out in Brody's office all the time. I'm very excited to get to know all of you, even though please show me some grace when it takes me like a extremely long time to learn everybody's name. Like I'm extremely bad with names, but I will do it. Cross my heart. But I'll do it eventually. Can't wait to meet all of you. And I'm here for you. Like Brody said, if you need to talk to anybody, need some advice, need a rant, something like that, just let me know. And I'm here. Hi, I'm Aloe. My pronouns are they, them. If you use other pronouns for me, I won't respond. I sent you a Senate contact sheet actually already. If you didn't fill it out, do that now, please. I don't want to email you again. Senate emails. Tomorrow, I will be resetting all 60 something Senate emails, which will be so much fun for me to do. So you will be getting your Senate emails sent to you anywhere between like noon and 2 o'clock. Keep an eye out for that. The Senate emails are weird and sometimes don't let you log in for the first time unless you're like in the student government office on one of the computers. So before you email me telling me that your Senate email didn't work, try it
on one of those computers, please. And then if it still doesn't work, go ahead and email me. If you want my job, you should let Brody know because I'm graduating soon, and someone has to take it over so he doesn't lose his mind. I'm excited to know you all in the meantime, even though it's like only a month-ish. That's sad. Aw. And then, yeah, a little bit about me. I love putting resources in my small little portion of the minutes. So if you're personally ever looking for resources pertaining to LGBTQ plus identities, the significance of critical race theory, how you can get involved in activism, or LGBTQ plus healthcare, let me know. Sometimes in my minutes when I don't have any resources to plug, I put pictures of my cats. And I also work for a bookstore, so I always plug the events that we're doing there. So you should sign up for my book club. It is a banned book club because I hate censorship. We're doing The Hate You Give this month. Last month we did genderqueer, and then I don't know what we're doing next month yet, but I will let you all know, of course. Also, we're doing a book launch with Chesia Burke and Mickey Kendall. If you know the book Hood Feminism, she's the author of that book, and they're both fantastic authors. So you should come to that too. I think the tickets are free. Besides that, Brody and Netta are actually really great resources. I'm a great resource too, but I'm not technically an advisor because I'm your age. Actually, Netta's younger than me, but whatever, that's it regardless. You should use them as resources. If you're a new senator and you're like, oh, there's just this white guy and I'm supposed to go talk to him. Brody has a bi wife, so he's not just a white guy. And also, like, to be honest, he's like a really nice guy and has good advice. Although if you're like me and you have parent trauma, it can be really alarming to go in his office and ask for advice. And his dad voice isn't yelling at you. It's like, oh, you're cared about and loved. So that's weird. But also really good when you're having a sucky day. So yeah, we got out of Senate at like 10:15 a few nights ago, and Netta and Brody stayed with me until after 11 talking about my graduate programs that I'm stressed about. They're wonderful people. They have wonderful advice. Netta had made me like 100 reasons to stay alive list once that's still on my wall in my room one day when I was really sad. So use them as resources. They're both really smart. They have a lot of information. They're both very empathetic. I am also really cool, but I don't have as much life experience. So if you just want to be friends, that's also lit. And besides that, look forward to pictures of my cats. Their names are Simon and Suzu, and they're very handsome, and they're brothers and boyfriends.
Okay, really quickly, one last thing that I forgot. You will notice the long list of people being added via election or appointment to committees down below. That is based on what you submitted in that senator contact sheet. So if you did not fill out that senator contact sheet, you should probably tell us which committees you want to be on. Otherwise, you won't be on any, and that will be sad for you. But also, you will note that you may not be on all the committees that you chose because some of the committees were over full. So basically, we tried to look at them and figure out if there were people that were on both of the over full committees. You probably only got one of them instead of both. And then we kind of made some decisions from there in the most equitable way possible. So feel free to look at that. If you see 14 names, that committee's full. If you see less than 14 names, add your name to the list and you can join that committee as well. With the caucuses, if you want to be on it, you're on it because those don't have caps. So that's exciting. Yeah. There you go. If you don't see your name on any of those lists, say something now. Okay. Yes, here, I'll let you call them for questions.
This is not something I put in the contact sheet, but may I be added to the list of people to be appointed to the LGBTQ plus caucus? Thank you.
Anyone else? Temple?
Brody, for those who had to be, this is a very weird question, but in regards to workday, for those who have been clocked in earlier this week for Day at the Capitol, do we still need to submit our times by tonight or tomorrow?
Good question. No, the end of the pay period is not until the following Thursday. So yeah, don't worry about that. I'll reach out to people individually.
Last name again. Morse. Yes. Sorry, I forgot my question. If we don't want to sit on all the committees or all the caucuses our name is currently on, do we contact you afterwards or we just take it off now?
Feel free to just take it off now. Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, do that now, because depending on which committee that is or caucus that is, that may allow somebody else to fill in a seat. So please do so now.
Go ahead and give me a thumbs up when you removed yourself. Okay. All right. Miscellaneous business. And Brody, please correct me if I do these elections and appointments incorrectly. Is there a motion to open nominations? Nominations for the FAO committee. Is there a motion to nominate Senator Ebe, Rose, Butler, Castillo, Cantrell, Nadella, or Nadella? No, sorry. That was a question for the person whose last name that is.
Nadella.
Nadella, Patel, Acosta, Mittal, Carter, Cotman, Kaze, Lacasse, and Karen Gall.
Kringle.
Huh?
It was Kringle.
Kringle. Thank you. Is there a motion to elect these same senators to FAO? Is there a motion to open nominations for the CRT committee? Is there a motion to nominate Senator Gomez, Karen Gall, Brown, Cimello, Monte? Say it louder. Montague, Mittal, Borges, and Hochfelder to the CRT committee. Is there a motion to elect these same senators to the CRT committee? Is there a motion to open nominations to the LJR committee? Is there a motion to nominate Senator Datilas DeCiara?
Is it Datilas?
Datilas?
Yeah.
DeCara, Nadella, Hamid, Tashe, Ribera, Yalamanchili, Luthra, Hochfelder, Hurst, Montague, Patel, Pullman, Sadlin, to the LJR committee. Is there a motion to elect these same senators to the LJR committee? And please continue to correct me. It will take me a meeting or two. Is there a motion to open nominations to the ENA committee? Is there a motion to nominate Senator Kenna Morset, DeCara, Cimello, Humayun? Sorry, somebody's blocking that.
It's Hamayan.
Usiferi?
It's Yusufari.
And Cantrell to the ENA committee. Is there a motion to elect these same senators to the ENA committee? Is there a motion to appoint Senators Gomez, Traynor, Richmond?
I'm sorry, it's Gomes.
Thank
you. I'm so sorry.
My apologies. Is there a motion to appoint Senators Gomes, Traynor, Richmond, Campbell, Pintel, Acosta, Carter, and Hurst to the SBA committee? And then is it I hereby appoint these same senators?
They don't actually even need nominations. You can just say I hereby appoint.
Okay.
And then do it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I hereby appoint Senator Herrera, Morset, thank you. Temple, Moore, Lacasse, Sandlin, Tashe, Bishop, Coatman, Duke, Richmond to the GAP committee. I hereby appoint Senators Kenna, Temple, Bishop, say it again. Datilas, Larson, Yalamanchili, Borges, and Senator Rose to the ORS committee. A few more left. Okay. I hereby appoint Senator Temple, Hamayan, thank you. Nadella, Patel, Luthra, Patel, Sandlin, DeMarla, Mittal, Holmes, and Karen Gall.
Kringle.
Thank you. To the APIA caucus. I hereby appoint Senators Gomes, Morset. Did I say that right? Yes, finally. Morset, Datilas, Butler, Carter, Holmes, Lacasse, and Sandlin to the Black Caucus. guys. I got one down. I hereby appoint Senators Kanawha, Campbell, Semello, Kaze. Is that correct? Kaze. Lacasse, Sandlin, Holmes, and Duke to the Disability Caucus. All right. How many more? 3 more. Okay. I hereby appoint Senators Yalamanchili, Yusufari.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Yusufari, Acosta, Montaigne, Sandlin, Holmes, and DeCara to the Hispanic Latinx Caucus. Okay. I hereby appoint Karingal,
Kringle.
DeCara, Pintel, Hamid, Semello, Hurst, Lacasse, Montaigne, Sandlin, Carter, Coatman, Holmes, and Yalamanchili to the LGBTQ plus caucus. Bear with me, I have one more caucus left, y'all. I hereby appoint Senators Kanawha, Temple, Bishop, Pintel, Semello, Yalamanchili, Hurst, Lacasse, Patel, Holman, Richmond, Sandlin, DeMarla, Holmes, and Gomes to the Women's Caucus. And I hereby appoint Pro Tempore DeMarla as acting committee chair to all the committees. And now DeMarla's drip down.
Okay, this is hard. So I'm not gonna do any new senators. I'll be doing DeMarlo's drip down for the new senators. So special mentions. I'll do it for everyone in suits. So Felipe Matthew, Ronit. Do you go by Ronit or Vijay or?
I go by Ronit Luthera.
Ronit. Okay. Who else is wearing a suit? Paige, I think. No, never mind. Sorry, I lied. Who else is wearing a suit? There's someone I'm missing. It's a new senator.
Amanda was wearing a suit.
Okay. And Hurst. So that's the honorable mentions. For third, I have Preston. I like the floral theme. Looks nice. For second, I have 2 tied. I have Elise and Uju because I like the pink. I'm a big fan. And for first, I have Danny with an amazing outfit. If you want to give us a twirl.
Yeah, stand up.
The matching shoes and everything. I love it. Woo!
Senator Temple.
55th off to a good start. Move to adjourn pending final roll call.
There has been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. Are there any objections? Kintrell? Do you withdraw, Temple?
Are we seriously going to do this right now?
Is it a question?
I withdraw.
Kintrell?
So while everybody's here, Brody, how exactly are committees going to work for all the new senators coming next week?
Yeah, good question. So, Akila, the last thing that your Speaker Holmes did was appoint Pro Tempore DeMarla as the acting chair of all 7 committees. So she's going to be in all those teams' channels. She's going to reach out to you.
Do not put your stuff in your bags right now. Wait until the end of Senate.
Aggressive. You're going to be added to those channels. DeMarla is going to reach out to you in those channels and say, hey, we need to find a time to meet. So at some point in the next 4 business, or not, Monday through Thursday of next week, you will have a committee meeting, and you will be told when and where it is, and you'll be part of the decision process on when and where it is. And then during that meeting, you'll elect your chairs, and it'll be very exciting. Any questions about that?
Follow-up question. What about caucuses?
Yeah, caucuses are going to do the same thing, but we're going to wait 1 week and then do it for the caucuses. Because I have to be there, and there's a lot for me to do. And so doing that 13 times in a week is hard. So yes. Ethan, is this a question or is this something for your speaker?
This is for the speaker.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. Good job, Connor, asking that question.
Do you want to go ahead and ask a question, or do you want me to
take it both?
Okay. Senator Temple?
The motion?
Mm-hmm.
Move to adjourn pending final roll call?
There's been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Pro Tempore DeMarla.
Brody, do you have a specific list or do you want me to just read it off the team's members?
Alo's really mad that they don't get to do it.
Oh, Aloe can do it. I
then
don't mind.
Aloe.
I yield to Aloe. Then.
For context, is normally the LJR chair, but you don't have one. No.
Thanks for letting me do it, you guys. Also, I'm not being a jerk. This is the echoiest room to ever exist. And like it is so hard to concentrate when people are putting their stuff away. Okay, anyway. I am going to get your names right this time. This is my goal. Gomes.
Present.
Herrera.
Present.
Trainer.
Present.
Donovan. eBay.
Present.
Kana.
Present.
Morissette.
Present.
Temple.
Present.
Bishop.
Present.
Caldwell. Caringle.
Kringle. Present.
Caringle, damn it. Thank you. Daedalus.
Close enough. Present.
No, what is it? Tell me.
It's kind of just how fast you say it, like Daedalus.
Daedalus.
Yeah.
Thank you. DeCara.
Present.
Butler. Sorry.
Present.
Sorry. Campbell.
Here?
Cantrell.
Present.
Castillo.
Here.
Fintel.
Present.
Hamid. Here. Larson.
Present.
Moore.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Sorry, I gotta scroll. Brown.
Present.
Samillo.
Present.
Humayan.
It's Hamayan. I'm sorry.
Hamayan. No, thank you for correcting me. Nadella.
Here.
Patel.
Here.
Yalan Chili.
Present.
Luthra.
Present.
Yusufari.
Here.
Acosta. Acosta? Question mark? Oh, gotcha. Borges.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Duke.
Here.
Hochfelder.
Present.
Holmes.
Present.
Hurst had to leave, right? Yes. Kazai.
It's Kaze.
Kazai.
Present.
Thank
Present.
you. Kopman. Kopman. No? Okay. Lacasse.
Yes. It's here.
Thank you. Montaigne. Montaigne. Patel.
Here.
Pullman.
Here.
Richmond.
Present.
Sandlin.
Here.
Tache. Rivera.
Present.
DeMarla.
Here.
Mittal.
Here.
42 out of 49. Quorum is verified.
And this is the correct one. I hereby adjourn this meeting at 10:28 p.m. Because I looked at that